everybody, SonGoshuaku live here, ready to talk about the WWE Royal Rumble 2026 event here and everything. Man, first of all, shout out to ESPN on those posters. That's old school Royal Rumble right there from the early 1990s, so I really dug that design. I thought it was a lot better than what they were using with everybody's face like half buried in shadows and everything, and stuff like that. So yeah, basically, they were in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in a stadium that, get this, was built up in just about 3 weeks. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, 3 freaking weeks to build this whole stadium. But hey, I thought the set looked nice, the stadium looked nice, though there was a weird thing where the lights were, basically, they had the lighting set up in a way where it kind of made you wonder, are there people there, or is it just being done to fill out the stadium? But overall, given the very, very extremely rushed job they had to do in putting this together, I thought the place looked wonderful and everything. Hey, shout out in the chat, we got Rusty to check my mic works. Yeah, technical issues I was having earlier, but I'm glad everything works good now, and from what I'm seeing, it looks like my feed is going smooth in both vertical and horizontal. We got my boy George. What up, George? Nice to see you in the chat, man. He says, oh boy. And yes, I imagine when we go through the show, there's a lot of oh boy moments indeed. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick things right off with the 2026 Women's Royal Rumble match. All right, so number one was Charlotte Flair coming out with a really cool outfit, I thought, too, as well, and things of that nature. And then number two was Alexa Bliss. So starting off with the team, with the teammates and everything. And for those of you who have followed me in my Royal Rumble reviews over the year, I am big, man, into where I always feel, and this is what I really love so much about the 2009 Royal Rumble, is that when you have team members, you should work together through the entire Rumble until it comes down to just you two or your faction. It just makes the most logical sense from a psychology standpoint. And of course, we start off with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair right here, basically just going at it and everything, like, oh no, okay, I was gonna throw you out, no, and then when another person's looking, no, I'll get you with a Sister Abigail, no, and I was like, what are you ladies doing? If you just sit there and wait for the next woman to come out, you have a 2-on-1 advantage, and you can do that realistically through all the entries. I don't know why they do this every Royal Rumble. That's why I liked about 2009 Legacy, Ted DiBiase Jr., Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton. They worked as a cohesive unit through the entire Rumble until Triple H was the last one to be eliminated. Yeah, I mean, it's just common sense there. So next up, we got Kiana James at number 3, and I'm going to say this, Kiana James, the way and I'm someone who didn't follow her in NXT, but the way WWE allowed Kiana James to go out there, this woman was doing so much athletic stuff and showing a tremendous case of the amount of power she has. I think she picked up like Nia Jax at one point, had her on her shoulders with ease, ladies and gentlemen, and went ahead and did the Samoan drop to her, and I'm like, okay, and she was doing kick-ups and everything. I'm like, we need to see more of this, Kiana James, yeah, we need to see more of this on SmackDown and everything, because they were doing these matches where she's like really getting quick and pinned very quickly, and it's like, man, this woman has this ability. Go ahead and showcase that, because for, like I said, someone like me, your main audience that didn't follow NXT, this is the type of stuff we need to be seeing out of Kiana James, so that was good. Next up, we had Ivy Nile came out in the ring, and fans were chanting "you suck" as she came down to the ring and stuff like that. But I like Ivy Nile, though. Very interesting. I think she's got quite the powerhouse despite her small stature and everything. Lola Vice came out entering. Biggest thing she did in the match was she did the thing where she basically kind of does like the dance and then does the hip attack, and then she runs into Nia, and then Nia knocks her down, and Wade Barrett is wishing that Nia does the dance, and she basically does it afterwards. So yeah, you had that. Jordynne Grace came out, was a total powerhouse in the ring, and then I think we had our first elimination, which was Jordynne Grace eliminating Lola Vice, and then Jordynne Grace eliminated Candice LeRae. From there, let's see how I got my notes here. Candice LeRae eliminated Jordynne Grace, Ivy Nile. From there, Charlotte Flair. Yes, so this is interesting here. Charlotte Flair was eliminated by Nia Jax, so they got Charlotte Flair out of there a lot sooner than I thought they would. And from there, we got this was the interesting spot. I misread that. Yeah. So what they do here is Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair both on the side of the ring. They're over the top rope, but they're still hanging on. And I believe yeah, that's right. No, Alexa Bliss is the one hanging on. So what happens is Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax are hanging on the ropes, and Charlotte Flair, she comes and does like the big boot to Nia Jax, and Nia Jax goes out of the ring, and the momentum of it ends up also taking out Alexa Bliss, and they're doing this whole thing, and Alexa's like, no, you didn't, and Charlotte's like, I didn't mean to, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. So now they're splitting more tension between those two. I thought it was a very creative spot to do with them, but it looked like Charlotte was holding on. I've only watched the show once and everything, but it looked like Charlotte Flair was holding on and then let go of Alexa Bliss and everything. So interesting as the tension and everything is starting to tease. Let's see what we got else going on. What else we got here? Jordan, let's see, Becky Lynch came out, which, by the way, I've been loving Becky Lynch's new theme song. Love it. From here, it says, So Ruca was next to enter, and So Ruca had a tremendous showing in this Rumble. Roxanne Perez entered at number 11, and she was basically had a tribute to Shigo from Kim Possible, so that was really awesome. And then number 12 was Maxine Dupree, who came out very serious. I was there at the Rumble 2025, and I remember she got a big pop, and she was kind of doing the more goofy character, and now she was a more serious character. But Becky Lynch actually rather quickly eliminates Maxine Dupree. I don't know what's going on here. They were pushing Maxine Dupree pretty heavily, and I was digging the more serious character, and now they had Becky Lynch just eliminate her. I would have loved to see Maxine kind of be like a new force to be reckoned with. And then number 13, we got Natty. I've always been a fan of Natalya, but I've been hearing some good things about this new character she plays as Natty, basically, which is like a much more rougher house, like MMA type fighter, I think it is. But yeah, she came out here, and this is what really shocked me. Natty eliminated Becky Lynch, and rather Becky Lynch was eliminated rather quickly. So I'm like, wow. I've got it going on in the chat. Let's see. Didn't feel goodness with. Okay, you're talking. We're gonna talk more about that later. Thanks for joining the chat, though. Butia, if I said your last name right. Women's Royal Rumble was decent as compared to the men's Rumble. You know what? I have more to say about that, especially tomorrow when I do my ranking live stream. My boy SMP, what up in the chat, says, yeah, Mini Shigo was lit. Yeah, for sure, man. That was awesome. Yeah, we always got to remember, Roxanne's one of the youngest competitors in the match and everything, so she definitely grew up in that time when Kim Possible was around and everything. So then going back from here, Natty, Natty got a really good showing. They put more of a spotlight on her in this match than Becky Lynch, and I was glad to see that, because like I said, I've been a big fan of Natalya since she debuted back when I was in high school, and to see her getting a renewed push as Natty, the new character, and seeing her, she was being taken very seriously as a force to be reckoned with in this Rumble. Nobody was really running through her, and I like that. I'm glad to see that. Long overdue. From there, we get Liv Morgan enters at number 14, and she was indeed one of my number one picks to win this. So as we go further here, Lash Legend enters at number 15. Man, oh man, you know what? Let's say this: she was the Oba Femi of this match. This match did a lot of good justice to showcase Lash Legend. She was the dominating force in this Rumble, and that's what it's about. That's what I want to see. The new stars, the younger stars, all getting pushed. So that was really good. SMP in the chat says, but yeah, I said that Natty was gonna turn on Maxine, but yeah, I hope they push Natty as the next IC champ if they can't get AJ Lee. For sure. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Yeah, I'm ready for the Natty push and everything, and yeah, I think everybody saw that coming with Maxine getting turned on, the way they set that up on Raw. Surprisingly, no AJ Lee in this match. You think she would have wanted to work the first Royal Rumble? Maybe she did, but maybe things didn't work out with the timing and everything. But yeah, I thought for sure we would see AJ Lee come on out for this Rumble match, but no, that wasn't in there. Take a little sip of water here for a little quick break. Keep my voice going. A lot more stuff to go through, obviously. All right, so next up, we had Jordan Grace was eliminated by Lash Legend, and I thought they were going to probably give Jordynne Grace a little bit more of a stronger showing, given that it looks like she's next to be taking on Jade Cargill. Next, we got at number 16, Zelina Vega, and then number 17, Raquel Rodriguez entered, and talking about it, she worked really good with Liv Morgan and Roxanne, and this is what I was very happy to see this. While they got Charlotte Flair and I forgot to mention that we did get some Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch action, so that was cool to see. It's always wild to me to see that we're living in a time now where Charlotte Flair is organically over as the baby face, and you have Becky Lynch, who is organically over as the heel, and it just shows you some character changes. You do a little character change, it can go a long way, so that's really cool to see. And here, that was cool to see there, but what was interesting here, let me see, lost my spot, so unlike Charlotte Flair and unlike Alexa Bliss, where they're trying to decide, okay, are we going to team or are we not going to team? No, the Judgment Day was on point. Liv, Roxanne, and Raquel, they pretty much were not backstabbing each other until we get towards the end of the match. More about that later. But for the most part, until we get to that spot, they were working as a cohesive unit, which I dug. I think that was awesome. More of this is what I love seeing with teams and factions when it comes to the Royal Rumble match. It just doesn't make sense to try and take each other out when you have a complete union. You've got someone that can watch your back, you can trust, and just fight all the way into the end. So Kiana James was eliminated by Raquel Rodriguez, and like I said, Kiana James got a lot of good time in this match, a good showing. Like this, it's like they flip a switch from what we've been seeing on SmackDown to what we're seeing now. Like, this is good. I'm hoping they are doing a lot better job now with her and Julia for sure. Chelsea Green came out, and she did get longer than she did in her first Women's Royal Rumble, but I don't think I remember her doing much of anything outside of that. She had some funny moments, and she got booed. I forgot who. I'm get to who eliminated her soon. I know the person that eliminated her got booed. Julia entered, and then Zelina Vega was eliminated by Julia. At number 20, we had Io Sky, who definitely had to be a heavy favorite. And then number 21, you had Asuka, which I see Georgia chat said, I wanted Asuka to get the Rumble W, become the second woman to win the Rumble. Yeah, that could have been interesting, but you know what? At least she's certainly, I will say, George, has marked herself in WWE history. She is the inaugural Women's Royal Rumble, and no one can ever take that away, and she'll always be synonymous with that. She will have always paved the way for women to win the Royal Rumble, so I'm glad she still has that under her notch. But she had a good, strong showing. They did a funny skit where I guess they're trying to get all the Japanese women together, Asuka, Io Sky, and you had Julia trying to team up. Julia, of course, I believe is mixed half with Italian and Japanese, but all three of them Japanese descent. And of course, that plan didn't go anywhere, and they ended up getting to fighting. Rhea Ripley entered to a huge, thunderous ovation at number 22. One of the biggest pops. Rhea Ripley gets like one of the biggest pops, male or female, on the roster. She was fantastic in there. Came out. You knew business was picking up. Here's Jim Ross, and oh my God, dear gosh, no, what I'm about to say, the great Jim Ross, not late, thankfully. Jim Ross is still with us. Oh gosh, man, I made the same mistake almost right there. That if y'all saw the if you saw the pre-show, dang near gave Big E a heart attack. Maybe had me scared too for a second there too. Where I think it was who was the female announcer? I'm trying to remember. Was it Jackie? I think it was. I think it may have been. It was either Kathy or Jackie. I forgot which one of them escapes my mind, but one of them had basically said that we're being told that Brian Saxton is no longer with us, and Big E's like, what? He's like, no. She's like, let me take my words. He's no longer with us in terms of being on this part of the show, as he's got another interview that he's doing or something like that. I'm like, oh man, yeah. I'm thinking because JR is no longer with the WWE, but in very much the land of living, he's still with us. Jim Ross, JR, my favorite all-time commentator, always one of the great. But I digress. Getting back to the show here. So from there, Chelsea Green's eliminated by Rhea Ripley, and that got a major boo. If Rhea Ripley's getting booed for eliminating Chelsea Green, that tells you how far that goes. So then from there, Roxanne Perez is eliminated by Rhea Ripley. She got a good showing there. Bayley enters at number 23, followed by NXT Women's Women's Champion Jacy Jayne entering at number 24. And then at number 25, we have Nikki Bella come out, and I assume she was basically rocking a tribute to the Chicago Bulls, the way her outfit was. Her hair was covering the back, so I didn't realize that it said 01, which would come into perhaps one of the biggest pops we got later on. As we get to there, Bayley is actually eliminated by Nikki Bella, and Lyra Valkyria enters, and apparently Julia eliminates Lyra, is eliminated. Julia is eliminated by Lyra Valkyria. Kiana James, this is Kiana Jordan, enters at number 27, and she is eliminated by Jacy Jayne. It was interesting. I thought with Kiana Jordan, because like I said, I haven't watched much of NXT, but I know she's super athletic, and I was thinking that maybe they were going to give her like the Kofi Kingston spot, but yeah, we didn't. I will say that's the thing about that maybe hurt this Royal Rumble, both the women and men's Royal Rumble. We didn't get a lot of like creative spots that made us think like, oh, that's clever. Like, I mean, there was one spot where I think Chelsea got eliminated, and they had who's with the Secret Harvest out there? Was it Alba Fire? And she's like crawling on her knees and hands, and that's keeping Chelsea's on her back like surfing. I mean, we got that and everything, but yeah, not too much creative spots that I could remember that like really stood out. From there, number 28, we had Kairi Sane enter, and Asuka eliminated. So they did an interesting thing here where Kairi Sane, actually this was one of the more creative spots. I did enjoy this one. So Asuka is thrown out of the ring and is hanging on by a thread at the bottom rope, and Kairi, I think, is fighting what's her name? Is fighting what is her name? She's fighting what was her name? Fighting Io Sky. And so after that, she goes for like an elbow smash to Io Sky. Io Sky gets out of the way, and she ends up elbowing Asuka, who falls out of the ring, and Kairi's like, oh no. And Asuka is like trying to get her whips about her, like, who eliminated me? And she slowly turns up, and she sees it's Kairi looking like this. She's like, Kairi! The way I can't do it justice and everything, but she does that big raspy screaming voice for Kairi. Oh man, and Michael Cole tries to go like, Kairi! And Wade Barrett's like, Michael, don't ever do that again. So that was a pretty good spot in this Rumble. And afterwards, Io Sky eliminates Kairi Sane. So yeah, Kairi Sane, even though she's one of the smaller women on the roster, she has always been presented as somebody who is not afraid to get in there with the bigger opponents, and and she's never been afraid, babyface or heel. She's never had like any cowardness about her character, and now she like fears Asuka, and I guess they're trying to say more like revere, but Asuka's like physically abusing her and everything. So I'm looking forward very much to when Kairi says, I've had enough of this BS, stands up to Asuka, and I know the audience is going to go wild. These storylines have traditionally and historically worked really well in WWE history, seeing someone get abused by someone and then they finally stand up for themselves. So I think it's going to work really good here. And we're getting out to the next one. One moment. All right, so here we get arguably one of the biggest pops of the Royal Rumble. We hear Brie mode, which is Brie Bella finally at number 29 makes her return. Now here, man, the Saudi Arabian audience, Riyadh, they were going crazy. Wow, like if you didn't know Brie Bella, you think she was one of the biggest superstars walking the planet. This woman got an insane pop, and they were going in. She was paying tribute to her husband Bryan Danielson, who recently retired in AEW, and they were going when she did the kicks. They were doing the yes chants, man. And there was a moment she got to hug her sister, and the fans gave them a standing ovation. They could tell whenever the audience was getting crazy, because they would zoom the camera out. So Nikki and Brie were back here, and you know what, that was really good. That was a great moment to see. We get after here, Lyra Valkyria is eliminated by Brie Bella. I think the Bellas maybe had eliminated Lyra and Bayley at the same time, if I remember. And then from there, Jacy Jayne's eliminated by Sol Ruca. Oh my gosh, there's a point where I think after Jacy Jayne does an elimination, I think she may have eliminated Kalani Jordan. I'm trying to remember off the top of my mind. I don't got all the notes perfectly centered here in together. But after she does that, Soul Ruca comes up from behind her and lands the Soul Snatcher, and man, it gets a thunderous pop. It is a phenomenal move. It's like a next evolution to, you know, we first had the Diamond Cutter from DDP, and then we got the RKO from Randy Orton. Now we got the Soul Snatcher, and that eliminates JC Jane, who's completely out of it from there. So man, that finishing move always gets a reaction. Big things for Soul Ruca, and I've been seeing a lot of people online say that they wish Soul Ruca was the one that would have got the big W for the Women's Royal Rumble here. Man, that was fantastic. I also thought with it, she got a good showcase, even though I was watching this over my father's house and everything, and he's kind of more casual fan and everything, so he's not familiar with Soul Ruca, but even that got a big reaction, got him up out of his chair. He's like, whoa, like, man, and that's awesome to see, because if you can see a casual fan that isn't, you know, as much into following the heavy hardcore stuff in wrestling, if they can be even amazed by that, you know you've got somebody with Soul Ruca that can cater to both casual and hardcore fans. And then from there, Lash Legend, Nikki Bella and Brie Bella are both eliminated by Lash Legend, I think at the same time. And this is what I mean, Lash Legend was here at the end. She was getting some big eliminations. I'll say this though, for the Bellas though, who would have thought Brie Bella would get one of the biggest pops in the Rumble? I'm happy for her and her sister. Saudi Arabia, like I said, showed them a lot of love. And I know this might be an unpopular opinion, because when it comes to the Bella Twins, I know there's kind of like mixed results depending on what fans you ask and all that stuff, but I am all for seeing Brie and Nikki reunite as the Bella Twins and become the women's tag team champions, and basically become and do it probably at WrestleMania. Now, if that means they're going to defeat Io and Rhea, I don't know, and I don't think you want to maybe do that match, because again, even though the fans showed the Bellas the love, they ain't showing them that much love over Io and Rhea. I think they're going to get heavily booed, but it might work in their favor because Nikki is technically a heel right now, so yeah, I guess it could work there. But yeah, because I think when the women's tag team titles came back to the WWE, because they've been gone since the 1980s, when that happened, the Bella Twins, I think, were pretty much semi-retired. They were trying to go off, have kids, and by the way, I gotta say, the Bellas look phenomenal for them to have gotten, been able to get, you know, married, have kids, and then get back into ring shape, both of them being in their early 40s now. Phenomenal. That is huge inspiration. So much shout out to the Bellas there, showing what amazing things women can do even after giving birth. So that's phenomenal. But as we get towards the closing parts of this match, Charlotte Flair, she is eliminated by Lash Legend. And this is what I'm talking about here. This is how you use a big star like Charlotte Flair in terms of how she's been positioned as by the company over the years, and you build a new star up like Lash Legend. Those are the type of eliminations that I'm talking about. And now another really good, cool elimination. So now my memory is coming back in terms of this. So there's a part where Io Sky gets Lash Legend out of the ring, and she's holding on to her, and she puts Lash Legend in a leg lock, and Lash is holding on like this. And even the commentators talking about, like, okay, this is a nice move. You got her in a leg lock, but if Lash Legend gets too hurt and she lets go, you both fall out. You're both eliminated. And Lash Legend, she takes her other foot that's free, and man, it looks sick. She nails Io Sky dead in the face with her foot, and Io just falls like almost nearly on the top of her head. She falls, and man, me and my father were both like, oh, that looked brutal. And she eliminated Io Sky. So they put Lash Legend over here. She got some big eliminations, and this is what's up. This is how you do it. This is how you build up the future. I really think Lash Legend versus Bianca Belair, those two powerhouses, man, with, you know, two girls with some attitude and powerhousing, it's gonna be something down the road for sure. And then number 30, I was hoping maybe we were gonna hear that tail whip, that ponytail whip, and it would be Bianca Belair, and it came out to be Tiffany Stratton, which I am glad to see Tiffany Stratton, but I'm like, yeah, I couldn't get my hopes up too much. Couldn't get it up too much, because my thing about is getting this up too much here was I know if it's been a long road of recovery for Bianca Belair on that finger. They were hoping, one moment, let me get some water here. they were hoping that Bianca Belair was hoping that the injury would heal on its own, the finger injury, but as they got more closer to like the spring and summer months, it healed, but not correctly to the point she couldn't bend her finger, and they were trying to weigh out as many options as possible into the fall. And I think around like late November, early December, that's when Bianca, I believe, confirmed that okay, she had to get surgery. And what the surgery means is basically they had to actually break the finger apart again, re-put it back together, and that way it can heal quickly. So realistically, 2 months after, man, 2 months after, 2 months after, I just didn't think it's probably going to be fully healed. It would have been a great surprise, and there's a built-in story with her and Jade Cargill. I'm, of course, still waiting for the Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair feud, but man, it is what it is, unfortunately, when it comes to that. Bianca Belair probably might not even make it back time for WrestleMania, so we could be looking, man, all the way possibly until what is that? I'm thinking maybe all the way till the spring after WrestleMania. But it was great to see Tiffany Stratton, who came in looking in tremendous shape and everything. I know she's been working to get in even more better shape than what she already was. And Lash Legend, she is eventually eliminated by Rhea Ripley after a very strong showing. So yeah, and even with this, man, they had Rhea Ripley sizing up Lash Legend, and man, she was like bigger than Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley really had to struggle to get the best of Lash Legend, and she finally got her in the end. So doing stuff like that really put Lash Legend over as a deal. I cannot say tremendously how great of a job WWE did at letting Lash Legend go out there, and how good Lash Legend did with her performance. From there, we got real life best friends Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez going at it, and Raquel, she eliminated Rhea devastatingly, did the Tahana bomb on the edge of the apron, which we know is the hardest part of the ring. So, you know, shout out to Rhea. She really gave back to a lot of women, gave them a lot of good spots against her in there. And so we come down to the final four participants, which was Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Sol Ruca, and Tiffany Stratton. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I gotta believe it's gonna be Liv Morgan and everything. So Raquel Rodriguez is actually eliminated by Liv Morgan, and unlike Charlotte and Alexa Bliss earlier in the match where it looked like this was an accident, there was no accident about this. Liv Morgan saw her moment and she took it, because this was after I think Rhea, they were on the outside of the ring. When Rhea was eliminated by Raquel, Liv like, I'll just go ahead and do it, instead of keeping Raquel basically as her, you know, as her backup and everything, and let them work together as a team. And I think this is gonna play more in the story where it looks like, okay, Liv might be getting afraid of Raquel and everything and stuff like that. So I'm interested where the story can go. From here, Sol Ruca is eliminated by Tiffany Stratton, and so it comes down to Tiffany Stratton and Liv Morgan, and all three of them are on the ring. So they've done this pretty much time and time over the last few years at the Rumble, where it always comes down to like the final three in the ring apron fighting. Liv Morgan's been here before and always loses, always, traditionally, according before. And this time, Liv Morgan and Tiffany Stratton, they end up coming down, but it's Liv, I forget what move she does, but she's able to take a hold of Tiffany Stratton and get her thrown off of the apron. Tiffany lands, and there, your winner of the 2026 Women's Royal Rumble, Liv Morgan, who was my number one pick for the No DQ Predictions League. Shout out to my family of No DQ right there. That was good. Yeah. I stood up out of my chair, clap. Liv Morgan has come so far since her days at the Riot with the Riot Squad, and she has improved every, you know, as years gone by, she has improved. And what I like about the consistent booking here with WWE is that Liv Morgan has consistently made it to the finals but never win. Some of the analogy I've been hearing is always a bridesmaid, never a bride, until now she came out as the bride. Liv Morgan getting, I thought, a very well earned, she has put the work in, and I'm glad to see WWE reward Liv Morgan as a championship, which means that she's going to either take on Jade Cargill for the Women's World Championship, or take on Stephanie Vaquer for the WWE Women's Championship. No, is that right? Jade's the WWE Women's Champion, and Stephanie Vaquer is the Women's World Champion. And I figured, because I was looking at the landscape here, and I'm like, man, they got Rhea and Rio in this tag team division. They got most of their main women's people in the women's main card in the tag division, and they haven't really built up the undercard much, as we could see. That's the reason why Jade Cargill most likely hasn't even had a single match yet since world title defense, I think, since the winning the championship, or maybe one if she has. So you got all that, and I'm like, what can they do here? And this is when I remember Liv Morgan, before she left, she actually was in a feud with Stephanie Vaquer and was going to be fighting her next for the world championship. So when Liv got injured, that's an unresolved story plot, and I figured, okay, I guess they want to do that, and I guess they can go that route in WrestleMania. But I almost think, from a story standpoint, putting the world title, on Raquel might be the better story, because Raquel and Liv have been tight like this through the last 3 or 4 years, however long they've been teaming. Because when Rhea turned her back on Liv Morgan to join the Judgment Day and join the Judgment Day, Raquel was right there with her and has consistently had her back. So we've had about 3 to 4 years as the WWE audience to see this friendship build up on WWE programming, and there could be a lot of emotion there, whether they want to turn Liv Morgan, because I think the fans love Liv Morgan, so her and Dirty Dom, it's time where they can go babyface versus Raquel Rodriguez. I feel like there's a stronger story to tell, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out as we head into the Elimination Chamber. Overall, not the greatest women's Royal Rumble match I've seen, but ironically, I think I may have liked it even more action-wise than the Rumble that shout out to SMP. Me and him were both there with our bro, the man 0001, at the Royal Rumble last year. I might have to think about that. Last year's Rumble did have some more bigger surprises, like Trish Stratus and everything, and Alexa Bliss, so you can't replicate those moments. All we got here was Brie Bella. But action-wise, I think these women did their thing. This was a good Royal Rumble, good solid women's Royal Rumble. I can't really complain. And on my ranking, you'll find out tomorrow when I do my live stream ranking exactly where I might have thought it was in the pecking order of these 4 matches. But yeah, I really did enjoy the women's Royal Rumble match. So before we get to our next match, let's check in the chat and see what's going on here. All right. Yeah, boy, that was a lot to recap and everything. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I actually used AI to help me out this time, because, man, taking those reviews, the Royal Rumble is always a pain to keep track of with everything and stuff. But I know my memory would come back to me when I would see who was what and everything, so that was cool. So yeah, with the times and everything. So let's see what we got here. Let's see. SMP says, I said, okay, I read that one. George says, I want an Oscar win. Read that. Okay, yeah. SMP says, Rhea is like the Triple H of the women's division. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, you're trying to talk about like the Reign of Terror? Oh, as far as character. Okay, I'm reading. Okay, let me continue reading first. As far as character goes, okay. Then I thought you were talking about like the Reign of Terror. I'm like, I don't know. Rhea's done her fair amount of jobs this past year, and been out of the world title picture, and stayed one of the most popular characters on the WWE. But it says that is true. This Royal Rumble was tamed. I don't know if it's because they're trying to be respectful of the culture, but they seem to have their hands tied. One of the things I'll say about the women's Royal Rumble was that, and a lot of people were expecting surprises. I didn't expect a lot of surprises, and this is why. It's easy in the U.S. to smuggle somebody into, a private jet and a van and not have them come on out until you get ready for them to go in the gorilla position. It's hard to do that overseas. Like, I don't think they were going to smuggle somebody in the country in Saudi Arabia without them knowing. So I didn't expect a lot of surprises. I just didn't. I knew that was a realistic possibility going in. But honestly, I'm all for the current day talent being showcased, so not a problem at all there. And I think the Brie Bella was still a genuine surprise to me, so that was cool to see. John, thanks for joining the chat, says, I like the women's Royal Rumble. I did too. And you probably see in my ranking tomorrow how much I really did like it when it comes to all the matches on these shows. George says they should have said her man's name. Oh yeah, I was so hyped up that I didn't even hear that, but from what I've heard in some other reviews that I listened to is that they did not want to say Bryan Danielson's name like it was taboo or something, as if Bryan Danielson isn't one of the most popular superstars to come out of that company in the last 10-15 years. So yeah, that's really weird, especially when I think Brie herself was saying that she thought initially that maybe be the reason why WWE didn't want to bring her back. Let's see what else we got here going on. Mar says Marsterling, sorry if I butchered your name, says they should are you open to collabs? I can be, but I'm very busy on my main channel at SonGoshuaku, where I do mostly my Dragon Ball voice acting and film stuff. This WWE channel is kind of mostly a seasonal channel and everything, but if you got a good idea, let me know and I'll see if maybe it's something that can work. But for the most part, I could say somewhat open, but most likely not as much on this channel though. But thank you for your interest though, I appreciate it. SMP says, yeah, I hope they build Lash up properly. So far I think they've done a good job. She had a dominant display in the what was that? The War Games match and the Royal Rumble. So this is really good stuff WWE is doing with Lash Legend. I think they need to keep it up for sure. SMP says a Lash versus Jade would be full circle since Jade debuted in wrestling with Shaq, and Lash was a basketball player. Oh, nice. I didn't know about Lash's history there as a basketball player, but yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, that was a pretty cool Shaq and Jade versus was it Brandy and Cody and AEW? That was a fun match. Ray Bando 314, sorry if I said your name wrong. Thanks for joining the chat. Liv use the Oblivion. Okay, thanks for appreciating that. Liv Morgan's a goat. She's going to be champ at WrestleMania. Okay, yeah, she used the Oblivion on top of the rope. Yeah, I didn't have that in my notes, so thanks for reminding me there. Yeah, that was awesome. I was glad she was able to win that way. SMP says, yeah, Liv is a star, a real student of the game, for sure. Liv might hit that two-time role. You think she might win another Rumble down the road. Ray says, the women are holding WWE together. Yeah, man, sometimes it definitely be that way, like especially during the pandemic, the women were knocking it out of the park, and then, man, Evolution, like WWE didn't really give their full attention into promoting that like they should, and yet when you look at that pay-per-view, a lot of people came out of that saying, and myself included, man, that was one of the best PLEs of the year. Even right now, man, a lot of my content that I made last year regarding PLE is still getting some views on this WWE channel, and I'm not even nowhere near as active on here as I am on main channel. So that right there, if a small YouTuber like me, in terms of my WWE channel, can still be getting a lot of views from my content I made about Evolution. Man, people really love that pay-per-view, PLE, I should say. SMP says, yeah, wish we went to this Royal Rumble. It would be all wait. I shouldn't say that. Yeah, you would have been on your own, SMP. Me and the man 001 wouldn't have gone here with you on that one. George says, my stream is lagging out. My internet is being sad. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to hear that, George. It says, talk to you later, my friend. See you around. God bless. God bless you too, George, man. Always appreciated to have you around, everything and stuff, and everything. I assume we'll definitely be seeing each other in a few months soon. So yeah, and everything. Shout out to George, man. He's phenomenal. Awesome voice actor too. Really great supportive friend. So always much love and respect out to him and everything. But yeah, now that we're caught up on the chat for the Women's Rumble, let's go ahead and get back to our next match. So yeah, oh my gosh, I gotta remember to change the graphic. Yes, Liv Morgan is the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. Gotta remember to change that. All right. Oh boy, let's get to this match. Let me get some water. I'll go first here though. Yeah, that was a lot of talking, man. All right, our next match was AJ Styles versus the Ring General Gunther for AJ Styles' career. So if AJ Styles loses this match, then he must retire. And of course, Gunther's been pretty much dealing that. So I did get a lot of notes for this one, as it wasn't nearly as much to keep track of. So no AI notes for this. Alrighty, so the audience is going wild for this match, especially given the high energy of drama on whether AJ Styles would be retiring or not. The match starts off pretty much with AJ Styles taking it to Gunther. Once Gunther is able to knock down AJ Styles outside of the ring, he then takes control of the match, and the fans boo loudly. Gunther is really taking it to AJ Styles here, as he's bleeding from the forearm, with Michael Cole points out may have been from when Gunther threw them onto the announce table during that onslaught outside the ring. So yeah, AJ was bleeding real heavily from the forearms and all that stuff and everything. So that was a pretty brutal spot looking thing from the get-go. From here, after getting dominated for a while, AJ Styles starts making a comeback with the Pele kick, and even gets a few near falls onto Gunther. Gunther eventually slows down the match again with a clothesline that Michael Cole on commentary says JBL would be proud of. Gunther, he hits a big diving dropkick and follows up with the power bomb, which gets a near fall on AJ Styles. Eventually, AJ Styles gets Gunther into the calf crusher, and after trying to get it on throughout most of this match, it's a high pressure time, as people are wondering if Gunther is gonna tap out. But while in the calf crusher, Gunther is able to get out of it by putting AJ Styles into the sleeper hold while he's got the calf crusher on. That was a really cool spot, and it reminds me, if you guys remember, it was the Survivor Series match where AJ Styles was against Brock Lesnar, and Brock took AJ's hand and just started slamming it against the mat, man. That was a brutal looking spot in that match. Good, awesome match, by the way. From there, there's a great moment. Eventually, there's a great moment when AJ Styles reverses the sleeper by rolling his body back, doing a pinfall similar to the one that Bret Hart beat Stone Cold with at Survivor Series 1996, which I always love as a classic. I kind of refer it to as that spot, but most famous use of that spot. But eventually, Gunther is able to escape and gets out of the ring, but AJ Styles ends up doing the phenomenal forearm over the top rope onto the floor, nailing Gunther. Eventually, AJ Styles makes another big comeback, hitting all his signature moves, like the springboard splash off the top rope, and even eventually landing the Styles Clash for another near fall to Gunther. What would have really been, I thought, a BS ending right here. Gunther grabs the referee, blocks his vision with the body to deliver a low blow with a back kick to AJ Styles, delivers a powerbomb but only gets a near fall, which generates a huge reaction from the audience, a huge reaction of relief. And even Michael Cole on commentary is mentioning how while Gunther brings out the dirty tricks, it usually means he's getting desperate, in desperate mode, which is true. He's not wanting to cheat. And yeah, he's always been like an honorable heel that doesn't like to cheat and everything, and that's really good. If you look at his matches, the only time he ever cheats is usually either he wants to give someone a dose of their own medicine, like he did with Solo on that qualifying match for John Cena to face John Cena, or he's desperate. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and cheat and stuff like that, man. So it was interesting when he uses that. So from here, Gunther starts eventually unleashing some loud, nasty sound chops, like, man, these things were loud on AJ Styles, and the referee, he eventually has to back Gunther off of him. Now AJ starts coming back though with a lot of forearm shots to Gunther, as the audience gets loud and supportive for AJ, says he's fighting back here. And Gunther, he gets AJ Styles in the sleeper, just like he did Goldberg and John Cena. AJ is able to fight for a bit as he elbows Gunther in the thigh, but Gunther eventually takes him back down into the sleeper again. AJ starts fighting back again, doing elbows to Gunther's thighs, but Gunther gets on top of his back, keeping the pressure on for the sleeper. AJ is close to getting to the ropes, but Gunther puts his leg over AJ's arm and eventually gets a full body mount on him. AJ holds on as long as he can, but his arm arm fades, and unlike when they did the 3 arm drops for John Cena, they only do 1 arm drop this time for AJ Styles, and the referee calls for the bell. It's over. AJ Styles' career is over after 10 years since making his WWE debut at that same event at Royal Rumble 2016, which was a huge moment, by the way. Shout out to my boy SMP. I remember he was sitting near me when we were watching with our friends, and when AJ Styles came up, man, I think he was the first one to get up and just going crazy, and then we joined and we were going crazy too. So man, what a heck of a ride it's been for AJ Styles. Basically from there from there they play no music at first as the audience is shocked. And then they play it and Gunther walks away, and yeah, definitely one of the most emotional moments in WWE history for AJ Styles' career to be over. Thankfully, I remember to change the graphic this time. So yeah, as you can see in the image there, AJ is in the ring, just looking around, and the audience is shocked, and they give him his thank you, Styles. Thank you, Styles. They're saying thank you to AJ Styles. They're saying all that and everything. And he does something interesting where he removes his gloves, and before he puts them down, he shakes his head, puts his gloves back on, does the phenomenal, A1, how when he puts his gloves together, it says like the P1 and everything, phenomenal one, and he walks out. So yeah, the end of AJ Styles' career. Now, I know as far as the talk that's been going on is that AJ Styles basically has said that he didn't want to do another retirement, a big giant retirement run like Cena, from when Cena was asking him if he was going to do one. AJ Styles also said that the thing is, even though he can go at a really high level, he doesn't, because he's almost 50 years old, but he can still, as we saw in this match, go to a high level. This was a phenomenal match. Are you going to see how much I enjoyed it on tomorrow on my ranking? Definitely probably one of the best matches on this card. But the thing is, AJ, he wants people to remember him as he is and not what he becomes if he sticks around too long where his body just can't do it anymore. So that was apparently a lot to do with it. Now, I'm thinking this is great for drama. I'm thinking they're going to do this match, and it's good to play off the fact that we know AJ said this will be his last year in a wrestling ring. And I'm thinking, okay, he's probably going to beat Gunther, but use a cheap tactic, like maybe give him a low blow when the referee's not looking, roll him up 1, 2, 3. That way it protects Gunther after riding high from all this momentum of being the one that retired Goldberg and John Cena. And because I'm like, there's got to still be a lot of big money matches left to make with AJ Styles, especially when they did him and CM Punk for the first time in a WWE ring. I'm like, let's go. I want to see that. And the match was okay, but it felt like they were going to do more, but I guess they really were doing it because it was it, and they figured, okay, it's either now or never. Let's get this match out the way. CM Punk versus AJ Styles. And so, wow, yeah, that was it. The end. 10 years where he debuted. From what I'm hearing others say is that this is AJ's WWE retirement, but not his pro wrestling retirement. We could very well see AJ might return to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He might even decide to end it where with the promotion that put him on the map, which was TNA. That's where I got my introduction to AJ Styles back in like 2005 when I first started watching TNA. Or he might go to AEW. Some people are feeling that this might be an Edge-like situation where Edge, didn't want to stay in WWE just because he might want to challenge himself in new ways. Same thing with Bryan Danielson. I was surprised because AJ Styles, when AEW first came out, came onto the scene, AJ Styles actually ended up going ahead and joining WWE. He ended up re-signing with WWE and was saying that he's made up his mind that WWE is where he's going to end his career and retire. So because of him saying that, and he said that a lot over the last few years, because of me thinking, okay, AJ Styles himself has said he wants to retire in WWE, I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. But maybe not, and I'm thinking that's what it represented with him putting the gloves back on. So I mean, if he does end up going to like TNA or AEW, there's definitely some great matches to be had there. It's interesting. He's not going to end it. And yeah, it's crazy because AJ Styles should have got a big fanfare, a big video package. People surrounding the ring. This is a guy who has done a lot for professional wrestling in general. all of professional wrestling. And man, he's had one of the most storied professional wrestling career, because his 10 years in WWE only represents a portion of what he's done in his entire career, even more than what I have followed as a fan. I casually followed him in TNA and all that stuff, and kind of just kept tabs on. I didn't really watch his stuff after he left TNA before he came to WWE, but I kept tabs on it with the Bullet Club and everything from other reviewers and stuff. So overall, I've always had the utmost respect. I've met AJ Styles too as well in WWE and stuff like that. So he was really awesome. And yeah, this is how his career ended. It definitely felt like it should have been a much more bigger, grandiose thing, because AJ Styles, like I said, he has had such a huge influence in the world of wrestling. Like, even a lot of people that have come to WWE, you best believe that they were watching AJ Styles do his thing long before he got to WWE. But if this is the end of AJ Styles' professional wrestling career, you know, there's no other better way to put it. A phenomenal career. If this is not the end of his professional wrestling career and just the end of his WWE career, I think a really good WWE career. I was more so a bigger fan of how heavily he was pushed in the early portion. Like, I know he didn't want to be champion longer beyond after the year he had been champion, but they never really put him back in that world title picture and everything. But he gave a lot of great matches. His WrestleMania match resume wasn't always the best, unfortunately, and all that stuff. I was there for probably his best one. Me and the man 0001, we went there in 2017 at WrestleMania 33. Phenomenal match with what was it, Shane McMahon. And I remember telling him the day before when I met him, I said, I think you're going to steal the show. And I remember he just smiled at me and he's like, I appreciate that, thank you, and everything. I've never forgot that and everything. And granted, he absolutely did. He stole the whole show, him and Shane McMahon both that year. So yeah, it was interesting. So I'll probably have more to say about this down the road when we see exactly when AJ Styles, if it is officially it for him, or if he's going to continue wrestling more. There was talk about his contract coming up in February, which this kind of aligns with that. So I guess that's one of the reasons also why they probably ended up going ahead and doing the retirement on him and everything right here. Triple H said, I heard during the press conference, they had a lot of deep conversations with AJ Styles, and it got to the point where it's like, if your heart's not into it anymore, then you can't do it. So I'm not sure if it's his heart's not in that ring anymore, or if his heart's just not in that WWE ring. I believe we will soon find out, because AJ Styles has said this year will be his last year in the professional wrestling ring. So we've probably seen it for WWE. But if this is his last match for WWE, it most likely was a phenomenal match to go out on him. Him and Gunther absolutely tore the house down or something like that, man. Absolutely phenomenal job. All right, I'm taking a little break here, see what's going on in the chat. Dude U5, thanks for joining the chat. Oba, no match for Beast. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I got more to say about that later on in the review. But thanks for joining the chat. Christopher, thanks for joining the chat, says, my name is Christopher. I can tell. I can see you right there. And Christopher, I thank you for joining the chat. Alrighty, so let's get back to the review for our next match. Yeah, I'm trying something new now with my for my notes, where I have my my MacBook open now for my notes to look down here, and that way I can keep the chat and everything here on my main screen and everything. So trying to get used to navigating this here. Alrighty, so we are gonna go on to our next match now. All right, next match was Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. I know it's called the Undisputed WWE Championship, but when you have a world title, you're basically saying that this is more important than that world championship. So I'm like, I'm just calling it the WWE Championship. I thought they went back to that for a while, but I guess not. Yeah, Drew McIntyre, because I haven't been on here since December to talk since John Cena's retirement. Very, very glad to see Drew McIntyre win the world championship in front of an audience that leads, because he won it in front of an audience at WrestleMania 40, but actually to see it lead to a run, that is awesome. Like, this is really good. So I'm happy here. This is a match that I felt could have gone either way. So let's break this down, this match, and I'll give you my thoughts afterwards. So, as far as the recap goes here, Sami, being a Muslim, gets a huge ovation in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, from the Riyadh audience. And then from there, the match starts off pretty nicely, back and forth, as fans are cheering for Sami to get the big win. Of course, being a big story of the match is that Sami has never defeated Drew McIntyre. Sami Zayn, he hits the Blue Thunder bomb, and he hits the Blue Thunder Bomb, and Drew McIntyre kicks out. Of course, the Blue Thunder Bomb usually never wins Sami Zayn a match, though they have recently been basically using it a little bit more for Sami to win during his open U.S. title open challenges. So I am glad that they started shaking things up from there. So then from there, fans, they're singing, they start singing Sami Zayn's name, and definitely shout out to the Riyadh audience, because man, these people were loud all night, and that's one of the things I do enjoy about the Saudi Arabian audience. Is very much like any international crowd, and these people, they don't get WWE as much, and when they get it, they show their appreciation with how much noise they are making. So I thought they were a pretty raucous crowd for the most part, for what I heard. I know there were some times where they may have been quiet, but you're gonna have your ups and downs here, but I thought they were big for all the big stuff and everything that they needed to be for. From there, Drew McIntyre pulls a page out of his old buddy Sheamus's book with a white noise from the top rope, which Sami Zayn kicks out at 2. Drew McIntyre delivers 3 consecutive Future Shock DDTs, though personally, I think they should be called the Present Shock DDT whenever he's the World Championship, because I can understand he's calling the Future Shock. It's the DDT that's going to take him to that world title, and then when he has the world title, well, hey, there is no more future, you are the present. So I don't know what the DDT is apparently preferably figuratively speaking is still future shocking. He's the present, so I don't know why they never changed to the present shock DDT when he's champion. It's one of those, like, it made sense when he was on the rise up, but now that he's made it, I think it could use for a different name, the present shock DDT. And maybe the present shock DDT doesn't sound as devastating, but I don't know. I just think future shock, Drew is now above being a future shocker. He is the present and everything, but I guess he can continue to shock the future of stars that are coming that think they're gonna, get where he is right now. So yeah, mini little rant over. Basically from here, Sami, but he does this by, the way he does those 3 consecutive future shock DDTs, present shock DDTs, I like to call them, he's holding on to Sami Zayn's arms and constantly going back and forth 3 times holding on to him. So it looked really devastating. And Sami actually barely gets his shoulder off the mat, like barely, like that, just barely. And even the audience went so quiet at this moment, you could hear a pin drop as they were shocked it was nearly over. So like I said, they were quiet, but at the right moments for the right reasons, I thought. And then Sami, he makes a slight comeback only to get hit with a Claymore in a near fall, which Sami is able to get his foot on the rope. At one point, Drew McIntyre starts arguing with the referee, and the referee, Charles Robinson, is like, listen, I'm the referee here. I'm just calling it like I see it. And he goes under Drew's arm to get out of the way. And just as Drew turns around because he's in the corner, Sami Zayn comes in with the haluva kick and gets a very close near fall, but Sami was selling so much it took him a while to get over Drew and get that cover on him. The action then spills to the outside as Drew McIntyre, he power bombs Sami through the announce table. Now when the action gets back to the ring, Drew McIntyre repeatedly slaps Sami hard in the face, telling him to stay down and that you don't have what it takes, but Sami is able to hit the exploder on Drew and goes for the haluva kick, but midway run, Drew McIntyre meets him in the middle of the ring with the Claymore. And from here, Drew gives a deep death stare at Sami Zayn. He's like, just like mumbling under his breath, looking at him intense and everything. And from there, he goes back and he lands after doing, the 1, 2, 3. He ends up landing the Claymore to Sami, who's not even all the way up. He's on his knees. He lands the Claymore and gets the 1, 2, 3 pinfall victory, retaining the WWE Championship. Yeah, I actually wrote this to my about my predictions. I'm like, I let my emotions get the best of me on those two mid predictions, because me thinking that this whole AJ Styles retirement thing was just something that they wanted to put a lot of drama in for his match against Gunther, because I thought that maybe AJ Styles would have more of a bigger let me go. Oh yeah. Oh no, I didn't make a graphic of that one. Okay, but getting back to what I wrote here, because I thought that maybe AJ Styles would have a few more big money matches left throughout the year, and yeah, I kind of thought that maybe they would want to give Sami Zayn, tying it back here to the Sami and Drew match. I thought they would want to give Sami a big win before taking the title off of him before WrestleMania. Should have gone, but I should have gone with my gut feeling, and but it is what it is. Yeah, I wrote that to a group chat with my friends, so. Let me go through this here, basically my thoughts on it. Okay, so I would have been happy. I was happy either way. I've been waiting so long to see Drew get an actual run with the championship, with the world title in front of people. So I'm fine with Drew McIntyre winning, absolutely. But part of me was just thinking that I don't think they're gonna possibly not gonna go all the way to WrestleMania with Drew. He's probably gonna drop that title soon. So I'm figuring Drew might be a very short-lived transitional champion, and maybe this was just done for the road to kind of spice things up for the road to WrestleMania. And then I looked at the situation they had here with Sami Zayn, and I'm like, okay, they're in Saudi Arabia. They know the people there love Sami Zayn. And if there was ever a moment, ever a time to give Sami Zayn a world title win, I thought the story wrote itself. He conquers the guy that he's had multiple chances against, and he couldn't get the job done. He couldn't never get the job done until now. He does get the job done, but that's not the way they went with it. It would have made, I thought, a feel-good story. He conquers Drew McIntyre finally. He finally wins the world championship. He does it in a place where he's very beloved in Saudi Arabia. And then they'll probably take the title off him shortly before WrestleMania. But the idea here is that, okay, at least they gave Sami the moment. And that's what I was thinking. Maybe they did this just so they can give Drew his moment, and they give Sami his moment, and they put the title right back on Cody Rhodes, and they go into whatever big match they want to go for WrestleMania. That's not what they went here. And it really would have been too soon for Drew McIntyre to lose the championship. So I do understand from that standpoint. But yeah. If you're not going to do it now, there's only one last place I could think that they'll do it. Maybe Sami Zayn wins the 2027 Royal Rumble, and he goes on to win the world title at WrestleMania, which would be WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia. If they don't do it there, then I don't know when they're going to finally go ahead and let Sami Zayn get the big world title win. Because one of my things that I've been seeing that I haven't really been too a big fan of that Triple H and his booking team has done with Sami Zayn is they position him, and they've done this like over the last 2 or 3 years. Sami Zayn will come out and give a big speech about how he wants to become world champion, and then out of nowhere he'll just drop him like, well, I just want to become a champion, and then they put a mid-card title on him, and it's like, okay, and then he's back to saying, I want to be world champion, I just want to be a champion, and I'm a mid-card champion, and now he's back to saying, I want to be a world champion, and they're like, it's like they're too afraid. All right, let's put him in the world title. We don't want to be world champion. Let's put him back in the mid card. All right, we want him to be world champion now. We're not really ready for him to be world champion. All right, let's go ahead and put him in the world title. We're not ready for it. Like it just feels like they keep doing this over and over and over with Sami Zayn. It's like, let us see him finally get his moment as world champion. And that's what I think I would love to see. So yeah, I just I would like to see that done. Some people were also mentioning, and like, yeah, Sami kind of for the most part got dominated by Drew McIntyre in this match. Like, it wasn't that much of a back and forth. It was Drew dominating Sami, and Sami coming back, showing some heart and at some moments, but overall, Drew just dominated him and even put the explanation mark on him at the end, his little stamp of saying, he said when he was like, you're not that good, Sami. You can't get the job done, or something like that for the world title, and then he beat him. and he beat him clean. Yeah, so yeah, it is what it is. Not the strongest match I think on this card, so I will a little spoiler, I don't think it'll be on my top list for this 4-match card. Oh man, so let's go to the chat, see what's going on here. All right, let's see. Just Call Me Patty, thanks for joining the chat, says that Roman versus Punk Night 2. Roman versus Punk Night 2. Yeah, I'll have more to say about that, but I think that's a big direction where we could be going in. S&P says it kind of feels like too much of a sell if they do it at Saudi Arabia, in Saudi, but okay. Like, do WWE think people would wait that long, a whole year? You know, they could also do it in Canada, Montreal, his home, you know, in his home country, hometown, and stuff like that, and everything. But, you know, it writes itself. The people out there in Saudi Arabia, they love Sami Zayn, and it would be a huge pop there, even if they did in Canada. WWE, and we've known this with Triple H, he likes to play the long game on things, and maybe he's feeling that will be the time and everything. But you know, you would like to see it a lot sooner than later. Like I said, I would have been fine with the moment. Even, you know, obviously I would love to see Sammy get a reign, but if he got the moment at least, that would have been fine here, and then maybe give him a reign later. But you know, it's hard to get mad or whatever, just because, like I said, you know, Drew McIntyre is still a big beneficiary of this. He's getting a run and an actual win as champion. So I'm glad to see Drew McIntyre's performance being I'm glad to see Drew McIntyre's performance being strong and everything here, getting rewarded for his very strong performance he's had over last year. So yeah, that was definitely good. Now we're going to go ahead and get to the main event coming up here. Take a while because I know I got a lot more talking to do on this one. Oh boy, this is probably going to be one of the more controversial things about this this show. All right, and now we get to the main event of the evening, the men's 2026 Royal Rumble match. And also, I forgot. Let me was it? Yeah, I think his name is it Nash something, right? WWE announcer. I forgot to put it in my notes. Mark Nash, right? Is it right? That's his name, Mark. Okay, I thought it was Mark Nash. All right, yeah. I just want to double check, confirm. Yeah, Mark Nash did a phenomenal job bringing the hype for the Royal Rumble. Been very impressed with his work, and I think he's been WWE less than a year, and I thought he nailed it always on John Cena's 2025 farewell announcements that he would do and stuff like that. So yeah, that was cool. All right, so we kick number one off with Oba Femi, and yeah, you know, this got a big reaction, like, oh, and that's what I will say about this Royal Rumble. The men's Royal Rumble to me did have the more hype moments in terms of the superstars coming out, but did I think it was necessarily the better Royal Rumble match? Well, I'll explain that in my ranking tomorrow on my live stream. But as far as this match goes, Oba Femi coming out, and I love when he does that whole march and everything with all that confidence. Like, man, Oba Femi, I haven't watched too much of NXT, but he was somebody I was keeping tabs on, dude. Like I said, the look, the when he talks, his presence, like, this guy is a walking definition of main main eventer right there, man. He really absolutely is. And just when I thought the hype couldn't get any bigger, knowing that we're starting off with Oba Femi, the number 2 entrant is none other than Braun Breaker. I'm like, I was going crazy. I was jumping up and down. I got off of my father's couch. Even my father, man, like I said, he's kind of casual. He got off the couch. He was like, oh, like we were both just going crazy like this. Let's go. I was like, let's go. This is how we start things off. We got Oba Femi versus Braun Breaker right off the bat. Like 2 big main event stars that you can see in the future. We got 2, heavyweight guys who are in their 20s about to go at it. I'm like, let's freaking go. And then what ends up happening is we get a mass figure wearing all black, and he completely takes out Braun Breaker, hits a curb stomp, and runs off. And we're like, who the heck is that? And I guess they're gonna now try to play some dissension that it might be Theory. They're trying to play up that it might be Seth Rollins. Maybe it's just a way to say, hey, if Seth Rollins is back, it can get back and cleared in time for WrestleMania, then we can reveal it's him. And if not, then we'll find out and figure out it's somebody else, and we'll just figure out, which kind of does sound like throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks and figure out later, like, you put an action but you don't have any backup plan for the actions. Hopefully they got a backup plan. I don't know. So Braun Breaker basically gets thrown in the ring, and as soon as the bell rings, he is quickly eliminated by Oba Femi with ease. So they protected Braun Breaker here. I think that's going to definitely have to be a big WrestleMania main event somewhere down the line in the rest of the 2020s or maybe 2030 sometime. So yeah, that was interesting. So number 3 comes out. It's Solo Sikoa, and I was hyped. I was like, let's go. I was like, let's see you go ahead and get your MFTs trying to take out Oba Femi and everything and stuff, but that doesn't do much. Rey Mysterio comes out. Rusev at number 4. Rusev comes out at number 5, and Rusev, he's eliminated by Oba Femi with ease. Solo Sikoa is eliminated by Oba Femi with ease. Rey Mysterio is certainly eliminated. I think Rey Mysterio goes for the 619 and his legs just bounce off of Oba Femi's stomach, and he's eliminated with ease. I'm like, oh, let's go. We in this for real. I was like, Oba freaking Femi is here. He ain't playing, and I love it. It's fun when WWE, we all know its storylines and all that stuff, but when WWE can get me so soaked into the story and everything, and gets me hyped up, man, that's when wrestling's at its best. So I was like, man, it was just, just fun to be a fan and be like, yeah, and stuff. So I was like, okay, we off to a big start here and everything, and things like that. Man, but it's like, wow, Rusev, you think they would have maybe wanted to show him get a little bit more shine. Matt Cardona, which I'm glad to see Matt Cardona back, but he's actually eliminated by Oba Femi with ease. And so far, yeah, it's not looking good. If it looks like they're trying to actually see, I know I was hoping with Matt Cardona, is this going to be a case where he comes back like Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, and they see like, man, the work he did on the indies, yeah, we got to put this guy in the main event level now. Let's try to get him towards that main event like they eventually did with Drew and Cody. Or is it going to be a case where they kind of see Matt Cardona as, he's an established name, and, we'll give him his name, but, we'll kind of like probably keep him in mid-card and have him establish some of our newer, younger talent. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to see that. I met Matt Cardona, a really cool guy, and I've always been very impressed with what he's done the last 5 years to get himself in the best shape of his career, get himself, more talked about and over than he's probably ever been, even going back to like when I was in my college years, when he was doing the YouTube show and everything, Long Island Ice, was it, what, IC, I forget what, I forget what it was called, but I remember, yeah, he's like doing the internet champion stuff. Yeah, if this is more what we're gonna get from Matt Cardona, it's gonna feel not too much different than what we were getting with him as Zack Ryder, other than he's playing a more serious character now. So yeah, if you're hoping Matt Cardona to get some sort of serious push for the main event scene, it's not off to a good start, but hey, there's still time. let's hope and see how it plays out there. Damian Priest comes out, and he's not afraid to go head to head with Oba Femi. That was at number 7. Number 8, we get Javon Evans comes out, so I'm glad that he was able to make it in time for the Rumble, as they may have feared he had a concussion. Entry number 9, Mr. Iguana comes out, and I guess he has his puppet with him and stuff. I don't follow in AAA, but I was laughing. I text my friends in our group chat that we went when we were watching wrestling. I was like, so Mr. Iguana, that is the reason why on Monday Night Raw, Finn Balor was told by Adam Pearce that the Royal Rumble was all full, even though I think Damian Priest was able to get himself declared. So maybe they only do like a certain amount of people from Raw or SmackDown, but no, we got people from AEW. I mean, yeah, that would have been crazy, AEW. We got people, I meant to say is we got people from AAA coming into this Rumble. We got people from NXT, so I'm not sure how much of the main roster portion Raw or SmackDown, but yeah, I guess we can assume Mr. Iguana took Finn Balor's spot for the Royal Rumble. Already then. So Trick Williams comes out number 10 to a big reaction as everybody's going like, whoop that Trick. Whoop that Trick. And this man, Trick Williams, got the lemon pepper steppers on it. Gotta love Trick Williams, man. Dude's full of so much charisma. I remember the fans on one of his promos leading up, the fans started booing him, and he's like, hey, learn to be quiet when grown folks are speaking. Like majority of those 10 to 20,000 people in the audience aren't grown folks. Oh man, yeah, I love Trick Williams, man. I like his work at NXT and stuff. So this man comes in and he literally wrestles. He's flying all over the ring doing drop kicks and all this stuff and everything, and laying people out in a fur coat, man. If that ain't style and charisma, man, I don't know what is. And Mr. Iguana is eventually eliminated by Trick Williams. Number 11, Cody Rhodes comes out, and even though the music doesn't play all the way, the fans are cheering. They're getting rockets for his theme, so they're cheering it. Number 12, we have El Grande Americano. He enters the ring, and then at number 13, the original El Grande Americano enters, which is basically Chad Gable, and man, Chad Gable, I saw photos before he came out to WWE. Chad Gable has gotten in the absolute best shape of his WWE career. That man, compared to what he was even before, he's always been in great shape, but even now, he is jacked, man. He is probably the biggest I've ever seen him. He is jacked, looks shredded, and I'm like, okay, so he's coming after El Grande Americano, and now we're gonna have the Battle of the Americanos, and he looked like he has a goatee now as well, and they kept teasing where, of course, Ludwig Kaiser, as the current El Grande Americano, he's trying to rip the original El Grande Americano's mask off, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a great way to introduce him. Go ahead, have him in the Rumble be revealed as Chad Gable, and even if Chad gets eliminated, which he did, you can have him come out on Monday Night Raw and basically cut a babyface promo talking about how, he wanted to show that, he can be entertaining, he can be all those things, a wrestling machine at once. But it looks like they're not going that route. They're probably going to keep him as El Grande Americano. So there it is. And I think that's why they did this originally. They didn't want to drop it from Chad Gable, and that's why they had Ludwig Kaiser, and then they had Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate take on the El Grande Americanos. And so that way they can have him be on TV, and you can tell that story when he gets back, now the Battle of the El Grande Americanos. So that being said, the original El Grande Americano, aka Chad Gable, eliminates El Grande Americano. And then the original El Grande Americano is eliminated by Trick Williams, and then from there, Trick Williams is eliminated by Cody Rhodes and stuff. So there you got a new Trick Williams was going to get humbled. So he didn't get as much time in this Rumble as I would have liked to have seen, but what he did get, I thought, was very effective and everything. I think Trick Williams definitely has the potential to be that main event star. He's got the charisma and the look for it. All right, and now we get to our next entrance, which was number 14. Okay, so new music hits. I don't know who it is, and just saying music in general. Now, I'm not going to say about our number 14 entrance because it's new. It's our first time hearing it, so it makes sense. We're like, okay, who's this? Both the women's and men's Royal Rumble a lot of this entrance music, and this was even a big issue last year. If SMP's still there in the chat, he would know this too. When me and him and the man 0001, a lot of us were getting hyped up. 3, 2, 1. You hear the buzzer, and we're like, oh, who's this? And we're doing a lot of who's this? And even this year, I'm looking at the TV like, oh, who's this? Who's that? And then I see the name come on the screen. And I'm like, oh, that's them. And then I'm popping. We have gotten, ladies and gentlemen, to a time when it comes to these Royal Rumbles because of the music, because of the way the music is in WWE now, with how Def Rebel produces it and everything, versus like the way Jim Johnston or CFOs would produce the music. We're at a point where the music will hit and the opening doesn't get you that reaction already. You're like, who's this? And the music will hit and you're like, you know, because it's not so much of a banger that it just sticks with you. Like, I love Becky Lynch's new theme song, but the other one is like, oh, who's this? You're doing like, who's this? And then you have to see, it's like we've gotten to the point with entrance themes where we have to rely on the name on the Tron. And once the name comes on, we're like, oh, like that's what it was like last year when they gave Finn Balor that theme song. We're like, who's this? And like, oh, it's Finn Balor. And then, you know, it's like, man, you know, the purpose of music, it's a big important part of presentation. It gets you hyped. It gets you hyped for that music. You know, the music is very important presentation of a very important part of the presentation for a WWE superstar, because man, oh man, when when Stone Cold would come out and that glass shatter, or you hear The Rock, if you smell, it gets you right off the beat. And in the theme, it goes into some banging sounding music that fits the character so well. It's like, oh snap, like when Brock Lesnar came out and you hear that, yeah, it gets you automatically and stuff. Like even Oba Femi's theme song when it hits, you know, those drums, like I recognize it. So yeah, that's a big deal. Anyway, getting back to entry number 4, we see Powerhouse Hobbs, and I was like, oh, it is crazy because right now I've gotten so far behind on AEW. I'm like a month behind, so as of this live stream, I'm still trying to catch up on AEW. I'll get there soon enough, as I mostly like listen to a lot of the stuff while I'm editing and multitasking for my content, and everything, because yeah, I've been really busy on my main channel and stuff. But that being said, I'm at a point in AEW right now where Powerhouse Hobbs is still on TV. So to see him walk out in WWE, it's like, whoa, you know, because I haven't seen the last month of AEW television stuff. I'm getting there, but yeah, I was starting to hear rumblings that he might show up in WWE, and he comes out as Powerhouse Hobbs, and they're mentioning like the man formerly known as Powerhouse Hobbs, and he comes out and they say he is now known as Royce Keys, and I'm thinking, Royce Keys. You see, the Powerhouse Hobbs name works so well because look at the man. He looks like a powerhouse. And Hobbs just works as a simple name. Put it together, Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, it just, you look at that guy and say, yeah, he looks like a powerhouse. And his name is Hobbs, simple. Yep, you know, here, Royce Keys. Are we going to look at that and be like, Royce Keys? Oh, snap, Royce Keys. That dude, now that's the name of something that screams powerhouse. I saw someone even go ahead and mention that the name, they even just keep the powerhouse's name. Why could not call him Powerhouse Royce Keys? But as many times with these WWE changes where they can own the intellectual, oh my gosh, I can't even speak right now. The intellectual property, easy for me to say, right? One of the things about this, when they do these type of things, it's a case where when it comes down to it, when it comes down to that, most times what I've been seeing, a lot of fans will get mad at WWE, but it's the wrestlers themselves who are changing their names. Like, you know, I know Finn Balor was Prince Devitt, but on the indie scene or in New Japan, right? But then he became Finn Balor, and it was something that was very and it had a lot to deal with, like going into like when he becomes the demon and everything. So it played perfectly into his character. And from my understanding, the Royce Keys, if I remember seeing this correctly, I believe Royce is the name of his son, I think, and Keys is the maiden name of his mother, who has recently passed away, unfortunately. Let me make sure and fact check that right quick. Yeah, why the Roy's keys, because I think that's what I heard, but I'm just gonna fact check it right now for Hobbs. Let me see what's being reported. It was chosen for sentimental reasons as it honors his family. Roy's is the name of his youngest son, and Keys is the maiden name of his late mother. Okay, alrighty, got it. Yep. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that I had those facts right. So yeah, and I think the same thing goes for Blake Monroe when she became Tony May. She went not Tony May. She was so entwined with Tony Storm back in AEW, but when she was Mariah May, she became Blake Monroe. But I think that was the same thing. It was tribute to her family member, one of her family members. So I think people have to realize that when we get these name changes, WWE wants to own it, but at the same time, these people are choosing names that do mean a lot to them. So it's not like this random thing where it's like, oh, they're just giving some random name that makes no sense. I think those days are over. At least, these are not the days where Stone Cold, where Steve Austin's like, I want a new name. And they want to give him Ice Dagger or McFrosted Freeze or something, McFreeze Frost or whatever it was. But he said it was some of the most horrible names ever. So those days in WWE are long gone. At least they give the talent, they say, hey, we're going to have to get you a new name, but we want this name to be something that means a lot to you. So there you go. And if Powerhouse Hobbs didn't want to have the Powerhouse part of his name, or he wanted to choose that and it meant a lot to him, then there you go. It works. He's like Kevin Owens once again. People were like, why didn't I call him Kevin Steen? And he called himself Owens because he was a big fan of Owen Hart, and Owen is the name that he gave his son, and so he thought, I'll honor that. Owens, Kevin Owens. That's the way I can pay tribute to a wrestler who I was a big fan of, Owen Hart, as well as my own son. So I think we just have to understand that these names mean a lot to these wrestlers when they choose them. They are not randomly given names. So hopefully we'll get used to it and everything. I do wish that at least the Powerhouse stayed a part of him and everything. Like, you think they would want to keep the Powerhouse, right? They do that with a lot of other wrestlers. Like, they want to always call Bronson Reed Big Bronson Reed, or they want to call Braun Strowman the monster among men. So I'm like, yeah, why not call him Powerhouse Hobbs? But maybe they don't want, the Powerhouse is too close to his AEW name and all that stuff. But yeah, we do get a moment of Roy's Keys in here with Cody Rhodes, and fans start going crazy because of the AEW tie-in and everything. At least it made me sound. I started going crazy. Maybe I was getting louder than maybe what the TV was, because I don't know if there was a big reaction for him coming out, but who knew who he was until it said Powerhouse Hobbs. So we get Damian Priest. He's eliminated by Roy's Keys. And then number 15 comes out. It's Austin Theory. And number 16 is Bronson Reed. And then Roy's Keys is eliminated by Bronson Reed. So I would have loved to see more time in there from Powerhouse Hobbs. I would have loved to see more of that. Like, let me see. SMP in the chat says, I think that was Hobbs' decision to change it. Oh, yeah, he's talking about the name. Yeah, maybe he did want to change the Powerhouse name. So, yeah, we don't know until he does an interview. Yeah, we won't know. So, respect his decision. What's going to be more importantly, though, is that he is booked far better and stronger than he was in AEW and everything and stuff like that. A good friend of mine that I work with met Powerhouse Hobbs during his time in AEW, and from what he told me, he said Powerhouse Hobbs was already then looking to get to WWE if things didn't change well for him in AEW. So yeah, Howard, and that was a couple of years ago or so. So Powerhouse Hobbs has been probably eyeing WWE for a while and everything. That's according to what my friend who met him told me and stuff. So and I always figured that Hobbs is a guy that I think would fit right in with WWE. He has that look that traditionally WWE is around. I think Vince McMahon certainly would have wanted to probably push him strong. Hopefully Triple H will push him strong. So let's see. They got a lot of great potential, but this is a good way to take a character, unlike Cody Rhodes, who was Cody Rhodes wasn't really that established in WWE as a top guy. He went to AEW. So this is another chance, like with but in addition though, he at least was a WWE guy before coming to AEW. Hobbs is someone new, you know. I think he did their developmental program, and I think he even once said something about he's not Boo Boo the Fool and everything. But now he has a chance to really be, I hope, a more bigger main event player that he was in AEW. So yeah, I'm really hoping things work out very good for now Roy's Keys. That being said, from here, number 17 was Ilya Dragunov. It's been good to see him back in WWE, one of the best sellers I think going on in WWE nowadays. And then number 18 comes out La Parka from AAA. And they had mentioned the established history of the character and stuff, so I guess another reason why Finn Balor couldn't get in here, because they needed to make sure that they had 2 spots for AAA guys as opposed to the WWE guy that'd been there. Did I say that right? WWE, like it's WWF it was in the back day? Just in case I didn't. WWE guy, Finn Balor. Alrighty, so from there, La Parka is eliminated by Austin Theory and Bronson Reed. Dragon Lee enters, and he's eliminated by Bronson Reed. And Logan Paul enters, and you know what? I do like Logan Paul's new theme song. It gets me, you know, I'm humbled, you know, and the way he just comes out to the theme. So, like, I dig it. I dig Logan Paul's theme song. And like I said, as I've said over the years, I don't follow Logan Paul outside of WWE, but I have been always very impressed with what he does in WWE. And now that he's been doing things more on a full-time basis, and I think he's been a great addition to the Vision. So overall, no complaints there. Entrant number 21, it's LA Knight. Yeah. So I remember Bronson Reed took him out, and I totally forgot that LA Knight was even going to be in the Rumble, because I'm thinking like, oh man, he hasn't been advertised, he hasn't been on the TV shows. But yeah, they got him back in here, and I would love to have seen LA Knight win the Rumble finally. But as I was telling a lot of my friends in group chats, nothing over the last 3 years in WWE's booking of him just convinced me that they were going to do anything. And as I look here, I was right. But what was really cool, they gave LA Knight some good shine in here as he eliminated both Austin Theory and Bronson Reed. And then number 22 comes out, it's Brock Lesnar. And I'm getting hyped because we still got Oba Femi in the ring, who's been in the match for a long time. And so from here, Brock Lesnar comes in the ring and starts dominating everybody like he does. Oh, this is a good one here. I'd love to hear what the chat says, or if you're watching this on demand, what the comment section, what y'all think about this. Ilya Dragunov goes to Brock Lesnar, and he lays in some thunderous chops onto Brock Lesnar's chest over and over, and Brock Lesnar just laughing at him like, yeah, like just laughing at him. And then basically he grabs Ilya Dragunov and basically just chucks him over the ring like he was nothing but a piece of meat and everything that Brock hunts his own meat and stuff and everything. I don't know if that sounded right and everything, but okay, let's rephrase that. Brock Lesnar hunts he hunts his own deer that he then turns into meat to eat, basically. So yeah, and everything. But nonetheless, yeah, Brock Lesnar made short work of Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov is such an intense performer in the ring, and he sells tremendously, that I feel like he absolutely could have that type of chemistry with Brock Lesnar that a Bryan Danielson or an AJ Styles or Finn Balor all had. These were all men who were shorter, who were, you know, on the smaller side, definitely compared to Brock Lesnar, and they still had some phenomenal matches with him. But here, man, they had Brock Lesnar just treat Ilya Dragunov like a joke. And I'm like, he stands out in WWE. He is an intense performer, and he sells, which is something that Stone Cold was talking about needs to be done. He feels needs to be done more. He was talking on Chris Van Vliet. He was talking to Chris Van Vliet about that, how he feels more selling needs to be done, and Ilya Dragunov does that. Even though he's not the biggest guy on the roster, this guy has such an intensity to his matches that I think should be protected. So even if Brock was just gonna be like, come on, you know, like he's like just show a little something, and obviously Brock's been in UFC, he's taken a lot more harder shots than what Ilya Dragunov was dishing out. So of course Brock can take these chops and stuff, but yeah, I think I would have loved to seen, you know, Brock within the confines of the story give Ilya Dragunov some more respect, you know. In other words, like, okay, you're a little guy, but you're a tough little guy and stuff. Here it's like you're a little. It felt more like it's like you're a little guy. These chops don't mean nothing. Get your, you know, ass out of this rubble. Like that's what it felt like. And I was like, I would love to see Ilya Dragunov booked with more respect than that within the confines of the story. But it is what it is. Number 23 is The Miz, and they kept doing this thing. When Brock would clear house, he would do a face-off with Oba Femi, and I'm getting all hype. I'm like, yes, let's go. I'm like, this is what I wanted to see. These are the matchups I wanted to see. Oba Femi, Brock Lesnar one-on-one, let's go. And they kept doing all entrances, and they were just staring at each other for the longest time, like, well, what are we doing with this stare down? And it's funny that The Miz runs in, and he starts trying to slide right back out. He's like, oh, I'm not getting in between these two titans. Rey Fenix comes out. He gets eliminated easily by Brock Lesnar, and let me get a little water break here. All right, so we do get a face-off of Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi in the ring, and man, at this point in the match, what ends up happening is Oba Femi ends up getting German suplex by Brock Lesnar. It takes down Oba Femi, and obviously Brock, he's taking down people way bigger than Oba Femi, so it makes sense. And then Oba Femi gets back up, and he tries to go for a clothesline, and Brock quickly dodges his. He's like, ha ha ha. He starts sticking it out his tongue, like, ha ha ha. He basically just starts teasing Oba Femi, and I think he takes down Oba Femi again, or maybe that's when he did the German suplex. But eventually, someone ends up fighting Brock Lesnar, and when Oba Femi gets back up, Brock Lesnar turns around, and Oba Femi, boom, nails Brock Lesnar with a thunderous clothesline. And Brock, to his credit, man, he goes down hard. Brock is a tremendous seller, like Ilya Dragunov in his own right. I think he's one of the best sellers. Brock Lesnar, absolutely one of the best sellers in WWE, and everything. So he absolutely made Oba Femi look like a beast on that clothesline. And this is the point where I wanted to see more, where maybe they're going to go at it and just start trading blows, and we're going to get some really good action, and it's going to get to the point where Brock Lesnar is going to be like, he has to be shocking. Now he has to sell like, oh no, this Oba Femi is different, unlike anyone I've ever faced in WWE. This guy's the real deal. And what do? Well, it ain't that. They have Brock Lesnar eliminate Oba Femi in the middle of Jey Uso's entrance. Yeah. Oh no, was it in the middle of Jey Uso? No. That's next. They have him eliminate Oba Femi, and the commentators, I don't even think, made a big deal of this on the announcing, and that's it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess if they're not going to use Brock Lesnar to put over Oba Femi in the Rumble, by having Brock toss him out, then they're going to give the rub to somebody else. Someone else is going to get a big rub by beating Brock Lesnar. And I'm like, we still ain't got a lot of the heavy hitters out of here. Like, I'm like, I want to see Jacob Fatu come on out and everything. Well, you know what? I'll get to this in a moment. Jey Uso comes out, and in the middle of the entrance, we kind of do this quick cutaway to where Brock Lesnar gets eliminated by Cody Rhodes and LA Knight. And that's it. So it's like Brock came out here in Saudi Arabia. He did he did some quick dominating. He had a little something with Oba Femi, eliminates Femi, and then gets eliminated by Cody Rhodes and LA Knight. And I think Cody Rhodes is the one that did the bulk of the elimination, and LA Knight just helped it with the last part of it, with his foot or something, like grabbing Brock's foot, as Cody had most of Brock over halfway. Cody got the rub, and I was there at SummerSlam 2023. Cody already got the biggest win you could over Brock Lesnar, endorsed by him. And hey, it's cool, LA Knight, got to eliminate Brock with him, and they both were a part of that. So good for LA Knight and everything. That's a big elimination for him. But I just really thought what they should have did is have Brock Lesnar clothesline LA Knight out. I mean, no, the clothesline Brock Lesnar out. Remember when the 2020 Royal Rumble, Brock was dominating everybody, and it was Drew McIntyre, after being distracted by Ricochet, he hits the Claymore, and Brock goes flying over the top rope, and it's a big reaction. imagine the pop. Imagine the sheer amount of huge reaction. Imagine how many people on social media would have been playing back had it been Oba Femi with one arm clothesline style taking out Brock Lesnar over the ring. That's a big deal. That's how you say Oba Femi was here. That's how you say this is the big deal. And even then, like I said, I thought there should have been more. Like Oba Femi got one clothesline in on Brock, but Brock's smiling at him, and Brock's like, quickly dodging, and Brock's amazing speed, at almost 50 years old, tremendous speed. He's dodging Oba Femi, and he's like, kind of treating like Oba Femi's not that big of a deal. I would have loved to see more of this. I wanted to see Brock Lesnar have to get them book it to where Brock Lesnar in his face would have been like, holy crap, this Oba Femi's the real deal. Like, you could tell he was like, okay, this guy, like, he's a big challenge, like kind of what they did with him and Keith Lee, where they gave him some big moments, and Brock was like, whoa, when Keith Lee knocked him down. That's more what I would have loved to have seen from Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi, especially if it ends up being true about what John Cena said, where he was saying that Brock Lesnar's possibly looking to retire this year. This might be the only time we get Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar in the WWE ring. So yeah, I thought there was some missed opportunity. Now, getting on to this part, with Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi both out of there, man, oh man, I thought WWE missed the ball. They absolutely missed the ball on some of this stuff. I'll be right back. All right, so I was gonna say this. I thought they missed the ball. We didn't get Oba we didn't get physical interactions between Oba Femi and Jacob Fatu. We didn't get any physical interactions with Jacob Fatu and Brock Lesnar. I'm thinking it's Braun Strowman. Braun Breaker. So many Brauns in this company that it's been. Braun Strowman's not even with the company, and hopefully he's doing good. Braun Strowman, I know, just had some a recent operation or something, so hopefully he's getting well soon. But yeah, we didn't get a face-off between Braun Breaker and Brock Lesnar, Braun Breaker and Roman, which we did get last year, so at least we got that last year. They didn't even want to do some nostalgia of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. We didn't get Jacob and Oba Femi. Like, man, there was a lot of interactions that was left off the table. We could have got Randy and Oba, and I realize some of these guys, they're young. We'll have plenty of time to see them face off, but if Brock Lesnar really is on his way out, now's the time. Like, yeah, man, there was a lot of big interactions that would have been those holy crap moments. The reason why I think so many people were hyped for this Rumble. I said going into this Rumble, I'm like, we need that part where it's Jacob Fatu, Braun Breaker, and Oba Femi in the ring at the same time, all three staring down each other. Audience would have went ballistic. They would have went crazy. I would have got out of my seat. So yeah, I thought WWE absolutely missed the ball when it came to some of these bigger interactions. We could have gotten a lot more, especially in this later half of the Rumble, and they didn't take advantage of it. So yeah, but hey, like I said, maybe it's just the Brock Lesnar stuff, knowing that he might be on his way out soon. We'll have to find out and see, but hopefully if Brock is on his way out this year and this is going to be it for him, I definitely think they need to do a Brock Lesnar and a Oba Femi match. Man, like I said, I would have loved to see Jacob Fatu get Brock Lesnar. Like, there's so many guys now. Like, for so long, Brock Lesnar was that dude to, like, okay, when Brock enters the room or the ring, business is picking up. Everybody knows, okay, we gotta focus on Brock. He's the monster. But now WWE has all these bigger monster guys that I think have been built up where it's like, okay, yeah, they can be that guy that Brock, when Brock is finally retired and everything. So yeah, I know they missed the mark on that. And then we get to Jey Uso. Oh boy. Now, listen, I like Jey Uso. I pop loud. S&P knows. We were there with our boy, the man 0001 last year. We were all doing the yeeting and everything when Jey Uso won. So Jey Uso comes out in the ring. He lays everybody out. And you would think, from a psychology standpoint in the ring, what makes sense within the confines of the story that they're telling in the ring, if you got everybody in that Rumble laid out, start picking them dead weights up and throwing them out the ring. 1, 2, 3. What's this man Jey Uso do? He looks at the camera and goes, let's run it back. And then he goes ahead and starts walking and gets back up and starts doing the yeet. I'm like, I was at the TV screaming from a story standpoint, like, this makes no sense. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you yeeting in front of the audience? Does this not contradict what your character just said? Like, his character, the night after Elimination Chamber, where he did that whole yeeting thing, on the cage or whatever, he was saying things like, what was he saying? He was saying things like, he needs to be taken more serious, or maybe the tribal chief Roman Reigns was right, and he's just back to doing this in the middle. Like, this is not the Jey Uso. The Jey Uso last year came out focused and ready, and he didn't start yeeting until after he won. Like, yeeting before the match, okay. Yeeting after you've won the match, okay. Yeeting in the middle of the match when the main event of WrestleMania or a shot at the world titles on the line, come on. I don't know what went into that. What was the decision behind that creative decision, because that just didn't make any sense from a logical standpoint. And I know they want the whole interaction of seeing the Saudi Arabian audience yeeting with Jey Uso and everything. Then if that's the case, why not book him to be the first person to come in when it would make the most sense to do that? I'm like, come on. I thought that was a ridiculous spot in the match. And here's the problem with this. You got a lot of people on the internet that are not feeling Jey Uso at all. And it's like, when you do things like this, you have people are reminded of why they're tired of Jey Uso. Because silly stuff like this makes no sense from a ring. And you don't have to understand the inner workings of professional wrestling. Anyone can sit down in the story and tell, okay, clearly people are fighting in here and there's something on the line and it doesn't make sense to do this. You wouldn't go, like I've said in War Games, you wouldn't go on the battlefield when all these people on one side of the battlefield are running here, and then all the other people on the side of the battlefield are running here. Are you going to have one guy in the middle just go like, let's run it back, and just start yeeting? They're going to get collision smothered all by them battles of the warriors. Like, what? It makes no sense. And then you have people like me who do like Jey Uso, because I've been a supporter of Jey Uso since him and Jimmy and Tamina first came on the scene on the main roster in 2010. And I think Jey Uso absolutely has worked hard and has earned the push that he has gotten. But things like that, people like me who are cool with Jey Uso and don't complain about Jey Uso and the use of Jey Uso like other people have on the internet. You take people like me where it's like, okay, I like Jey Uso, but I don't want to see him yeeting in the middle of a match, especially when there's high stakes involved. I don't mind the yeeting before the match or the end of the match. Just, man. Shout out to my boy SMP in the chat. He says, I would have Big E if he heals and Keys teams up against the New Day. Yeah, that would be cool. Big E and Royce Keys together as a team. But going into where I'm at here in the Rumble match, SMP says all because of the yeeting. He says exactly. I say Jay doing that, and I'm see Jay doing that, and I'm like, he just talked about not being a joke, and he's grandstanding, and you see others fighting, acting like a match, making him look like a fool. Freaking exactly. And what makes it worse, man, what makes it worse is that Jey Uso laid everybody out. That's prime time for, like I said, pick these guys up with the dead weight and toss them out. You're literally getting them all time to recover, and you've got your back turned to them. What stop? I'm like, somebody's gonna push you off. Someone's gonna push you off. Like, what stops anybody from getting up in the story, in the confines of the story they're telling, and someone just shoving him, and he goes right? And you know how hilarious that would be. You know how dumb that would have made the Jey Uso character look if, while he's up here yeeting, someone just went ahead and pushed him in the back, and he goes turning right over, does like a complete 180 right over to the ring. Wow. you talk about just a night and day difference from the way Jey Uso's character was presented last year to this year. It's not the fact that he didn't win and go on to win the Rumble again this year. It's the fact that, man, they're just having him do things that just don't make sense. Like, this yeeting has got to stop in the middle of the match. I understand it's fun and you want to give the audience a good moment, but like I always say, there is a freaking time and a place for everything, and a Royal Rumble match, that is not the time. You never saw Stone Cold come out there in the middle of a Royal Rumble match and just start chugging beers and stuff while he's got everybody down the ring. The most he did was his whole watch, but that was just his way of letting you know he's waiting, he's bored, he's waiting for the next participant to come out. Crazy stuff. And SMP says, and that's why what happened next got him out. Oh yeah, great segue, SMP, into our next entry, number 26, Roman Reigns. And so Roman Reigns comes out in the middle, and him and Jey Uso, they hug, and Roman's like, run it back. And Jey was like, you want to run it back? And Roman's like, yeah, run it back. And then Jey was like, all right, I'll run it back. And before he could turn around, Roman, boom, smacked the taste out of his mouth and threw his butt right out of that ring. I'm like, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, did Jey Uso? I think Jey Uso got eliminated by Roman. I don't know if I got it in my notes here, but I think that's what happened. Yeah, I think Jey Uso got eliminated by Roman, or maybe just got smacked, but yeah, that's like Roman smacking the taste out of his cum. Like, get your ass up here and act like you want to win this world championship again. Act like you actually want to win this Rumble. That's what it felt like. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it was great to see Roman Reigns come out to a huge pop with the ones in the air. So the Miz, he gets eliminated by Roman Reigns. And then LA Knight is eliminated by Cody Rhodes. And then number 27, which has won a lot of entries for the Royal Rumble, Jacob Fatu comes out. And this is where I was really, really wishing we still had Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi in the match, because I wanted to see Jacob Fatu square up with them and stuff like that. But yeah, from there, we get, let's see, where am I at? Yeah, Penta enters at number 28. Man, they didn't do much with Penta and Rey Fenix in there. Would have been nice to see a Lucha Brothers enter there. I thought maybe once again they got rid of Roy's Keys so fast. Would have been great to see Penta and Roy's Keys go at it to play up on their history in AEW as Powerhouse Hobbs. We did get Cody and like I said, in Powerhouse Hobbs, but yeah. Number 29, Randy Orton comes out and the fans are singing his song. And Randy Orton eliminates Javon Evans. Now, Javon Evans and Randy Orton had a match where Javon Evans had messed up, and as a result, they didn't get to pull off where he was flying towards Randy Orton. So in this match, they did pull it off, and Randy Orton eliminates him. So I'm glad that Javon Evans and Randy Orton were able to get that redemption moment of the spot they wanted to pull off and everything. And yeah, Javon Evans had a great standing in here. He was pushing around. They even had one moment where him and Trick Williams and Oba Femi were going at it, playing off their history in AEW, NXT. I don't know why I default to AEW, probably because they are the number 2 promotion in the company, and not the company, but in the promotion in the industry for professional wrestling. That being said, number 30, I really pretty much realized it was going to be the Ring General Gunther, who's on, and they even had in his graphic, he retired AJ Styles earlier that night. And then from here, we get Penta he's eliminated by Gunther, and Cody Rhodes is actually, he's going at it with Jacob Fatu, and Jacob Fatu, I think, does like a sidekick to Cody Rhodes, who goes into the ring. And from there, Drew McIntyre comes on out and does, and I saw somebody in the back, but they had long dark black hair with their shirt off. I'm like, who is that? And I'm like, I think that's Drew McIntyre. And sure enough, it was Drew McIntyre. He hits a Claymore, hits Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes gets eliminated. Once again, for those of you who have followed me over the years on my main YouTube channel, and of course I've now migrated almost nearly a year ago over to this channel, I am not a fan of people getting eliminated by those who are not even in the Royal Rumble match. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know why it would count. I don't think it used to count. Now they kind of flip-flop with that, just like they flip-flop with we'll do 3 drops for John Cena, but only 1 drop for Cody Rhodes, like with no explanation whatsoever. So it's like, man. which had me like in that match. I was going like, oh wait a minute. So I'm like, it's not over because they did 2 in Cena. So why are we counting it 1? And I'm like, man, even fans were like in that match with Cena and Gunther, they were like, oh, because they knew they can WWE condition their audience to know that 1 drop means it's over. So when they start doing 2 and 3, it's like, okay, what the heck, man? What the heck? Hey, thank you, Joshua, for joining the chat. Says no Page. Yeah, that was an interesting no Page. We got no Page in there. Though actually, no, I mentioned earlier in this stream, it would be hard to smuggle people into another country, so that's probably why as well. Hopefully we'll get Paige later on this year, when they can do it better in the US and stuff like that. But yeah, SMP says, could you imagine if someone in the UFC did that? Oh dude, that's knockout. They're getting swept so quickly. Oh my gosh, that would be absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, they lost at that point. That was just poor strategy on their part and everything. And yes, S&P of course is referring to if someone started yeeting and saying rolling it back in the middle of a UFC fight. Like, wow, talk about letting your guard down big time. But yeah, going in here, we get I wasn't a fan of that. Drew McIntyre eliminating Cody Rhodes. It also is so unnatural. Why is Drew still instigating stuff with Cody Rhodes? Like, you beat him. You won the title, and he had to get in the back of the line. He hasn't even done anything with Drew McIntyre, but he still keeps instigating him. It's like he's desperately asking, "Come on, I want you to get a rematch for my title." He's putting stuff in his in his van. He's costing him the title. Like, why? Like, you just because you want to make sure you're not facing Cody Rhodes again? Like Jacob's the one that's actually after you. So I don't know. It just feels like unnatural storytelling for Drew McIntyre at this point to keep going after Cody Rhodes. I just don't get it. And everything. It feels like, okay, now they're going to probably set up for Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre to have a rematch at Elimination Chamber, and Drew McIntyre gets his title back. It's like, why are you constantly instigating? You got what you want. Like, if anything, Drew McIntyre should be going after the bloodline. That's where his grudge is, because they made his life a living hell in the storyline. What did Cody really ever do to Drew McIntyre that was that bad? Yeah, he teamed up with the bloodline, but he never was a part of all the activities that cost you the championship for those years. And Cody Rhodes did nothing but just beat you fair and square most of the time, I think. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, he beat him. There's no reason. It's like they want to continue this for whatever reason. But from there, Jacob fought 2 and Roman Reigns. We do get to see them go at it, so that was a really cool thing. And eventually Jacob fought 2 is eliminated by Roman Reigns, so at least we got that interaction. And okay, so that's where eliminated. Then Jey Uso gets eliminated by Roman Reigns and stuff like that, because Jey Uso did come back with the spear, so he only slapped him down, but he came back with the spear on Roman Reigns. And when he picked Roman Reigns up, I'm like, oh, he's gonna do exactly what he did against Batista, or no, what Batista did against him at the 2014 Royal Rumble, where he's been speared and he tries to go and toss him out the ring halfway. Roman reverses it and throws Jey Uso out of the ring. So you ended up getting that. And it comes down to our final 4 participants, which is Roman Reigns, Gunther, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul. All right, so the elimination from here, we get Logan Paul, and he did get a funny moment where he backed up into Brock Lesnar and got taken a suplex city from him and stuff, and had a funny look on his face, like, oh, that old crap face. That was earlier in the match. But Logan Paul, he is eliminated by Roman Reigns, and then Randy Orton is eliminated by Gunther. And so it's down to the ring general, Gunther versus Roman Reigns. So, you know, Gunther's had a major push at this point. He's eliminated He's retired Goldberg, retired John Cena, retired AJ Styles. So he's gotten some big wins. And the only thing it looks like is that they just didn't want to put him over Cody Rhodes or CM Punk. And so what they're going to do when it comes to Roman Reigns. So him and Roman Reigns, they go back. It's pretty dramatic. But in the end, Roman Reigns is able to eliminate Gunther and win his 2nd Royal Rumble. So therefore, the 2026 Men's Royal Rumble Rumble winner is Roman Reigns. And I got out, I was cheering like, yes! And I threw the one in the sky. I'm like, let's go. I was like, yes. And this has been like a controversial pick here. I've seen some mixed stuff. The fans in Saudi Arabia were going crazy though. They were cheering. So here's what I have got to say about the men's Royal Rumble and everything. And now I can put my my MacBook up here because I am done here with the, I'll leave this right here. So yeah, so I'm back. I'm done with the notes here from here. So yeah, I am glad to see this. Now, once again, have you followed me over the years? I've gone on record for saying on my channel that I'm not a fan of people who have won the Royal Rumble winning it again. And let me explain that, because Stone Cold Steve Austin is my all-time favorite, and that man won 3 of them. So here's how I feel. I understand when Hogan won 2 Royal Rumbles, he was still the established face of the WWE. They were still in the last part of the Hogan era, so understandable. And the Royal Rumble was still an early concept. Back then, it wasn't even for the championship. It wasn't even for a shot at WrestleMania for the title. When Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold won their first Royal Rumbles, respectively, in 1995 and 1997, they were still upcoming stars. They hadn't reached that main event platform yet. Now, when they won their second Rumbles back-to-back in 1996 and 1998, respectively, there was no doubt these were going to be the guys carrying the company for their time and stuff. Shawn basically carrying the New Generation era, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin carrying the Attitude era. So at that point, it once again made sense. And then you go into the 2000s, Brock Lesnar, you had Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, John Cena, and Batista all won the Rumble that year, and they all had big phenomenal moments winning the Rumble, and there you go. When you come back to almost a decade later, the following decade, the 2010s, I didn't think John Cena needed to win the 2013 Royal Rumble when Ryback was as hot as he was in terms of with the audience and momentum that he had. I didn't think Brock Lesnar needed to win the 2022 Royal Rumble again. I didn't think Batista needed to win the 2014 Royal Rumble, especially with how hot Daniel Bryan at the time was with the audience. I didn't think Randy Orton needed to win the 2017 Royal Rumble. I thought they could have given it to Bray Wyatt. There was definitely a lot of better options. And here's the thing about those 2010 Rumbles. When these guys came back and won their second Rumble, Triple H, he's another guy, perfect timing winning the 2002 Royal Rumble, winning in 2016 when they were desperately needing some new stars and stuff, and everything like that. Man, the thing about those second Rumble wins for them, it was at a time when there was a much larger roster and you were having people who were far established. Shawn and Austin, they weren't winning this Royal Rumble. Like, for Shawn Michaels, like, I guess maybe you could have made the argument of Shawn coming back in 2006, winning the Rumble, and everything for the world title, and everything, but then you didn't need to. You still have 2 world titles, so I'm glad they went with Rey Mysterio. Man, Stone Cold coming back to win a 4th Rumble in 2008. Like, yeah, I would have went crazy for my all-time favorite Stone Cold, as a teenager back then, but, you know, the younger adult me probably would have, when I became a young adult, I probably would have looked back and been like, yeah, they didn't need to do all that. So, you know, that's the difference. These guys were way established. The landscape of WWE's changed. You've got more established stars now. You've got 2 world championships now. So I don't think there's a need to have someone who's far established win the second Rumble. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the fact that just these people winning the Royal Rumble, another Royal Rumble, like a decade afterwards, is what I wasn't into when they were established and everything. That being said, my exception was Roman Reigns, and here's why. Joe Anoa'i, I've always been a fan of his work as Roman Reigns. I thought he was always putting on good matches, and I always thought early in that 2014 push, he had something there. Like I said, I've said it many times, that scene where the fans were chanting, John Cena sucks, and Roman just ad-libbed right there on the mic and says, when John Cena's, he said, when he's like, when Roman Reigns is in the house, you're damn right John Cena sucks. I love it. I'm like, this guy's got something. And then he came back in 2015 from getting injured, and the fans were organically behind Roman in that initial 2014 push. But then he came back in 2015, and They gave him the blue contact lenses. They gave him the lines that everybody thought was very corny, like the Southern succotash, son. And Roman himself, it's come out since John Moxley did interviews. Roman didn't want to do that himself. And the push just felt so unorganic. It felt like this is less about making the first ever Roman Reigns and more about and letting him find himself, and more about making him John Cena 2.0. And that's why it felt so unorganic. And then you had Bryan Danielson come back as Daniel Bryan, and fans still wanted to see him, win the Rumble like he didn't win last year. And that whole Rumble just turned into a big mess when they eliminated him early and stuff. And then you look at the fans booing Roman in 2015, and they bring out The Rock out there hoping that, okay, well, The Rock's with him and The Rock's endorsing him, so yeah, we'll cheer, and they're booing. The Rock's like, what the heck is this? We didn't see The Rock 2016, 17, 18, 19. He didn't see The Rock. What was it like? Yeah, that was in 15, right? 16, 17, 18. We didn't see The Rock for almost 4 years again on WWE TV, I think, after that. Man, or maybe he did come back later that year. Or was that 2014? I don't know. It was a long time before we saw The Rock again. Yeah, and the big dog push just was a lot of things that were unorganic. I just felt like the way Vince McMahon was pushing Roman Reigns, it just wasn't doing Roman Reigns any favor. Like, you had a talented guy here, but it's like, let this guy be himself. And then eventually in 2020, they did. They let him become the tribal chief, and Roman gets organically over. And eventually, when he does lose the championship after his historic reign as a champion, become the fourth longest reigning world champion of any kind in WWE history, I think it was, because only Hulk Hogan, Bob Backlund, and I think Bruno Sammartino, they were the only three to hold it longer than Roman. Roman comes back as a babyface at SummerSlam 2024, and he's finally organically over with the audience. And this is where I started saying, you know what? If there's anyone I think that has earned a second Royal Rumble win, I was like, I think it's Roman. Because I'm like, this man has gotten organically over, and let's wipe the taste of that 2015 Rumble win out of the mouth, and let's go ahead and get him. And they had a few options. They could have done it last year They could have done it last year in 2025, and I would have been okay with it, and they didn't. They went with Jey Uso, and hey, Jey Uso was a new, fresh person, so I was all for it and everything. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, if Roman never wins the Rumble again, I'm like, it's fine. I think they can go that route if they do it. And so they went here, and I figured that, with the way the landscape looked in WWE, I figured, like, okay, Roman's probably winning this time. He's probably going to win the champion. He's probably going to win the Royal Rumble. And they did. And I was happy for a guy. I was saying, this is like a beautiful redemption, a great redemption for the Roman Reigns character, and just Joanna Wani as a performer, in terms of where he was in 2015 to where he is in 2026. Like, look at this Rumble win. He won, and the fans are cheering, going crazy. They're throwing their ones in the air, and this time, it's because of what he's done as himself, as the character Roman Reigns, as the tribal chief, not because Vince McMahon was trying to push him as like John Cena 2.0 and everything. Like, this is like the most authentic version we've had of the Roman Reigns character. And then another reason why I was glad to see him get this second win for the Rumble match is because, you didn't need The Rock out there. The Rock was just out there to basically, let's have him give the rub to Roman. No, Roman by himself did it, and I love it. I just think it's a great redemption story for Roman as a Rumble. It's good to look back that Roman Reigns, will be able to retire, and we'll be able to look back on a better Royal Rumble win for him and everything. Now, a lot of people are going to probably say that Roman didn't need it. He's already established. Why are we going back to Roman Reigns? He already had the fourth longest reign as world champion. And that's true with any established second-time Royal Rumble winner, as I mentioned. There's no reason to do. You're right. You could have gone with somebody new and fresh and everything like that. And with the Elimination Chamber, you can always have Roman win Elimination Chamber, and there you go. He's off to the races and everything. But WWE wanted to go. Triple H wanted to go with the safe bet and everything. And like I said, for me, I'm a lot more okay with it, just because I'm like, I'm glad that's off of Roman Reigns' record. I'm glad to see Roman get a defining and much better Royal Rumble win that's better than what it was 11 years ago. And Roman has always been used towards like that last part to make it look like, okay, Roman might win. Are they going to give it to Roman? They did that for years. They did it with Shinsuke Nakamura in 2018, Randy Orton in 2017 and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's good. And that leads us to where I think we're going here. You know, two of the biggest dream matches left to do would be Stone Cold Steve Austin versus CM Punk and The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Those would be, I think, some of the best things that you could still do. Are we going to get that in Las Vegas for WrestleMania 42? Probably not. Stone Cold said he could still go, but he's not throwing it out there that he is gonna go. And there's been a lot of talk that they're gonna try and get Stone Cold and The Rock at WrestleMania 30 and shell out a lot of big money for Austin and Rock at WrestleMania 30 or 43 next year. So when I look at it, being that those are two of the biggest stars you can have those two biggest dream matches with, if you can't get Austin and Rock this year for WrestleMania, well then do Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. That's probably the biggest match you can do with the two biggest stars at WrestleMania 42, and I'm all for it. I'm always going to be a bigger CM Punk fan, you know, since I was a teenager and everything, because when I saw him come into WWE as the straight edge superstar and everything, I'm like, oh man, I identify with that, because as a teenager, I was still straight edge, and I've still been straight edge all my life here as an adult and everything. So, yeah, I've always basically been, CM Punk's been one of my favorites. So, you know, I've always been able to, you know, as a straight edge person myself, always been able to identify with CM Punk and stuff like that, and just phenomenal. Like I said, his promos, I've enjoyed his wrestling matches. You know, always been a CM Punk guy and stuff. But Roman Reigns has been one of my favorites in recent years too, ever since he established his tribal chief character. So I'm all for it, man. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and it says a lot that CM Punk was able to be gone as long as he was, and Roman was the guy dominating the decade, and CM Punk comes back in, and now they're looking at WrestleMania and they're like, okay, we're gonna put CM Punk right up there with Roman Reigns. They're gonna be the main event, and I'm more glad that they're doing that over Cody versus Roman Reigns. It looked like 3. I do want to see Cody versus Roman 3 at WrestleMania, but I think that can be maybe a little bit later on in their careers, when like both of them are, you know, maybe older, maybe gonna be on their way out, and it's like, before we do call it quits, let's see who the number one is best. Who's the number one best one between you, Roman, and Cody, and this time one-on-one, no interference with the bloodline, all that stuff. Yeah, I would love to see that later on, but right now, yeah, let's do it. CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, which means CM Punk's probably going to get another main event at WrestleMania, and I think that is a great main event. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, the star power speaks for itself. You have two of the biggest established WWE superstars over the last 15 years, 16 years at this point. Like, yeah, absolutely, go for it. I think that's a great main event. We'll see where the other stuff is headed, but yeah, I'm okay with Roman Reigns winning the championship. Winning the Royal Rumble. You may not agree with that, and hey, to each his own and stuff and everything. If you disagree, that's fine too. I respect your opinion, and if you dislike Roman Reigns being the champ, winning the Rumble, hey, I can't argue with there, because you probably made some valid points. I just made my valid points too, as I think, hey, I think it works and all that stuff. Does it move the company forward? Absolutely not. It's kind of like a temporary, it's like putting a band-aid on a really big gaping hole. Yeah, it's not gonna solve the problem. Like Roman Reigns versus CM Punk does nothing to establish the future of the company, but what it does do is it bides more time, as mentioned with Jacob Fatu, Oba Femi, as mentioned with Braun Breaker, and I think even Dominic Mysterio, who wasn't even in this Rumble, surprisingly. No, Aleister Black was in this Rumble either. When you get those guys in WWE has a great opportunity in 2026 to really build up and establish these guys. they have a big opportunity to do so, establish these guys. And so that's what I would like to see, where they build them up and establish them. So I think that would be really great to see, to the point where next year you don't have to rely on Roman Reigns. Like, there's no reason for Roman Reigns. I feel like he's got his Royal Rumble redemption moment. There's no reason for him to win and tie Stone Cold next year and become a third-time winner for the 2027 Royal Rumble. WWE has enough talent to work with, enough call-ups I think they've made, and they've got some great young and newer main event talent that they can establish. I would have loved to seen LA Knight, get his win finally, but like I said, there was nothing that WWE has done in the last 3 years of his booking to establish me to think that he was going to get this win. Hopefully LA Knight gets his win, but as far as LA Knight goes, that's all we can do is just hope. But yeah, I'm looking forward to where things are going. So yeah, like I said, for me, I'm happy that Roman Reigns won. Once again, not the best men's Royal Rumble match. It had a lot of hype moments because of the superstars involved, the potential of a lot of the newer and fresher faces, but I don't think they really capitalized on that with this men's Royal Rumble match. And tomorrow I will do another live stream where I break down these matches on why I rank them where they are. So yeah, it was okay men's Royal Rumble. It had its moments. That's kind of my feeling on the men's Royal Rumble match. So you could probably already tell where I'm going to be ranking these Royal Rumble matches tomorrow on my next live stream and everything. But yeah, that's the Royal Rumble overall. Overall, I thought the Royal Rumble event for 2026 was a solid show. It wasn't the greatest Royal Rumble show ever. It wasn't the worst Royal Rumble show ever. It was a solid show, and I've been saying that. I think I said that about Survivor Series. A solid show. We're getting solid shows, and that is the theme of what I've always said when it came to Triple H booking NXT and now him booking the main roster. Some might be good, some might be great, but you'll never get a bad show. And I can't say that I sit here as I was watching it with my father, and my father had a great time watching the show. I thought it was a good show to watch. I enjoyed it. So yeah, that's the best thing I can say. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It was just a decent, solid show. And hey, if I can walk away from a show not feeling my time was wasted, I feel good. And I don't feel my time was wasted. Like I said, I got enjoyment out of this show, even if it wasn't to the enjoyment level that other Royal Rumble matches and Royal Rumble events have given me. All right, I'm going to go to the chat here. Let me get a little water break. Alrighty, so let's see. SMP said Drew likes to be a bully. That's why Punk played him 2 Manias ago. Pretty much that's the story. Yeah, Drew does like to be a bully, and it's gonna come back and bite him again in the butt when he's poking the bear too many times, and Cody's gonna probably come back and win that championship. But at least he's gotten a title and a run this time in front of an audience. SMP also says that's what's gonna cost him the title at Elimination Chamber. Yep, there you go. Yep, just like I just said right there. Yep. SMP also says, what are your thoughts on the people from Saudi booing Triple H? Oh, they must have done that during the press conference. I didn't see it, but I hear about these things. It's been a running theme lately, is that Triple H has been sitting in the audience, sitting behind him during these post-show press conferences, and fans are booing him and letting him hear it and letting them have it and stuff and everything. And yeah, man, those Saudi Arabian audiences, they definitely are some hardcore loyal Dragon. I'm up here thinking Dragon Ball. Gosh, my main channel is Dragon Ball, but this is WWE channel. There's some hardcore WWE fans and everything and stuff like that. In the Dragon Ball community, you often have to really mention casual Dragon Ball fans and hardcore Dragon Ball fans. There's such a big huge establishment between like what some casual Dragon Ball fans want, what hardcore Dragon Ball fans, but we all love Dragon Ball at the end and stuff. One of my best friends, she's a casual Dragon Ball fan. I'm a hardcore Dragon Ball fan, and we're best friends. So yeah, it can work. In the WWE though, it feels like the casual fan base, at least online, is definitely not as passionate in terms of, or being so locked in, is not so locked in as the hardcore fan base. Like, well, I've been on this live stream talking for almost 2 hours and 30 minutes it's like, yeah, I don't know how many casual fans are doing that in depth about WWE and stuff. I still want to go to my Dragon Ball roots. I love WWE and Dragon Ball both, but yeah, not too many casual fans are probably going to spend this much time online talking and creating these graphics and stuff for WWE like that and stuff. They're not that locked in, which is no problem. At the end of the day, casual, hardcore WWE fan, we all love WWE, and that's what matters and stuff. But yeah, it makes sense. They're a hardcore fan base down there in Saudi Arabia, so it makes sense. I don't think Triple H gives a care. You know, he's gonna do what he wants to do, and everything and stuff like that. So I don't think he cares about the audience. WWE is still making a lot more money now. When it gets to the time, if it gets to the time where they're no longer able to sell out on a consistent basis, then yeah, and business starts going down, and you know, they're not getting a lot of, TKO's not getting return with all the money they're putting into it, and then at that point, yeah, you might have to take a look at that. But yeah, you know, so many people come hard on Triple H. I've been hearing it all year. They're calling this the ruthless depression era. They're calling Triple H the bald fraud is what I've been hearing. Man, you know what? Honestly, Triple H's 2002 to 2024 booking, phenomenal stuff. I loved it. The 2025 SMP, when we were at a wedding, you know, with our boy when he was getting married, I remember I think someone asked how's WWE been. I hadn't been watching the product, and I was like, it's a lot better. Not as good as it was a couple of years ago, but it's been a lot better, I thought, than when Vince was in charge in his later years, and you were just up here like, every time I kept talking, you kept going like, which you're like, yeah, it's all right, basically. I remember you kept saying that and everything, and yeah, it's been all right, pretty much, you know. But I don't think Triple H is as bad as a lot of people are making him out to be. Once again, maybe that's just me. Like I said, I'm a little bit different. I listen to these shows while I edit all the time for my content and everything, and I usually just sit down to watch the PLEs and stuff. So yeah, I mean, but I don't think Triple H has done as bad. I'm not gonna call Triple H a bald fraud. I'm not gonna call this the ruthless depression era. I think the current era is called the Renaissance era. I think WWE, even in 2025 and currently at the start of 2026, I think it has been a lot more enjoyable than the way WWE was like in later years, like 2019, 2018, like that period where they had Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin fighting over dog food. That point where, you know, we didn't have the bloodline yet. We just had the Usos and Roman together taking dog food and pouring it back on Baron Corbin because Baron Corbin poured the dog food on Roman. For like the Bobby Lashley sisters, like, yeah, I'm like, you know, I don't think this current era WWE is bad. I am really glad. I think Triple H has done a really good job, honestly, from where things were. It's not been as good as it was when he started out, and I would love to see things improve in 2026 and everything back to the way a lot of stuff was going, because he has gotten very formulaic, is that the word? Formulaic, right? I think is the word in the booking and stuff like that. So yeah, you know, there's some things that I'd definitely like to see change up and stuff like that. Like Julia, I want to see Julia actually get a nice, good push as the U.S. champion this time. I want to see more focus put on the tag team, which I think the women's tag team division's been good. He put all the women main eventers there, and now we need to establish the upper card and everything, the mid card and stuff. So there's still some issues there and everything, but I just don't think it's that bad. I don't think Triple H has done that bad of a job. So that's just how I feel about it. But yeah, and everything. And there's definitely room for improvement, but I don't think it's like the drizzling poops. Like that, I'm not going to say. Absolutely not. I don't think Triple H is doing that type of job now. Let's see. SMP also says, I think we didn't see The Rock until 2015. I think when he faced the Wyatts and then again with Ronda Rousey. Yes, you're right. You're right. That was, yeah, you're right. He did show up in 2016 for WrestleMania 32. So okay, it had been that long, I think, since on being on SmackDown. Yeah, because yeah, you're right. Yeah, he showed up in 2015 at WrestleMania 31 with Ronda Rousey, and then the year later WrestleMania 32. And I think it was after WrestleMania 32 we didn't see him. I know he did something with the New Day and he did something with Rusev, but I don't remember if that was like 2014, 2015. But I know when The Rock finally did show back up on SmackDown in 2019, it had been quite a while. And stuff like that and everything. So yeah. Well, hey, SMP and everybody else in the chat, I thank y'all so much for being engaging in the chat. Let's see, where are we at? Let me see. 70 of you checked out my live stream, the horizontal version. So that's awesome. 160 of you checked out on the vertical version. So I really do appreciate that and everything. Yeah. Obviously, this channel is still getting established and everything and stuff like that. As I get more content on here, I expect it'll start doing bigger numbers for live streams like my Dragon Ball main channel does and everything. But that being said, guys, it has been an absolute blast. I really appreciate you all coming on by and everything. I will be back tomorrow with the ranking of all 4 Royal Rumble 2026 matches before Monday Night Raw, so you can see where I go ahead and rank them and why and everything. So definitely, it's been a blast tonight, guys. Thank you so much. And with that said in mind, you can make sure to follow more of my WWE content right there on the screen, and make sure to follow me on my social media platforms. All links are in the description and pinned comment below, along with my affiliate links. Until tomorrow, guys, take care.